Boost, boost, boost.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, December 16th, 2021. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1408.
This is No Agenda.
Digging for worms and broadcasting live from the heart of Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm train spotting today, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
That's right. We had a whopper.
Your dog has worms?
No, man.
What dogs have worms.
You're going to make me go right into the worms. If you want me to go straight into the worms, I might have to do it. I might have to do it. Yes. Ivermectin, if we just want to go straight for it, ivermectin has been quite controversial. And over on the Hills Rising podcast, that's the one that those superstars left who we've never heard from again.
Yeah, the two superstars.
Who are they?
Crystal Ball and what's his name?
The other guy.
Yeah.
the other guy. Yeah. So they're talking about ivermectin with the current crew.
Those two or the new?
No, the new team. And who's that?
Yeah, which is now 3 or 4 people they had to.
Yeah, they got a woman and 2 guys, and the kid with the blonde hair. He's been around. What's his name?
I don't know. I don't watch it.
Okay. Anyway, but they're a bunch of liberal intellectual elites, obviously, and so now they're going to explain. Oh, by the way, there's the one woman. She's very. I forget her name, but she knows what's up. She's trying to interject with these guys because they're not going to give you the reason why ivermectin works well against COVID in South Africa and Africa in general, but not in the United States. Do you know? I mean, it's crazy.
It's racist. That's why.
If hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, legitimately worked and could be demonstrated to work, doctors would be prescribing it. We understand now what happened with ivermectin. Ivermectin, basically deals with worms. And so when they were giving it to people in Bangladesh and Africa and in a lot of places,
right, it was
in Asia,
helping. It was helping because it was killing off the worms they had, right, which made their body better able to fight COVID. So it did in a weird way.
Oh my God!
Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it. So let's just, now this poor woman's going to come in. She's going to try and interject, but this was it's such a great conversation. And I consider The Hill to be mainstream at this point. This is a mainstream podcast.
That was this huge mystery because they're like, we're seeing clinical studies here that shows that it actually does have some effectiveness but yet it doesn't have effectiveness in the United States. What is the problem here? And so a lot of people are like, oh, obviously it's a conspiracy.
Right.
No, it turns out we don't have a lot of worms here in the United States. And
we just don't have a lot of worms.
So,
we don't know for sure that it was killing the worms, and that's why it was helping.
We do know it kills worms. Like that's what ivermectin does. It's very good at it. Didn't the guy win a Nobel Prize for it?
But I don't think we can make an
assumption.
Listen to her trying.
That the thing beats COVID, but we're not confident that it kills worms. It's actually built to kill worms.
Wait. We're confident it kills worms. That's what ivermectin does. It won a Nobel Prize for that.
So if it kills the worms, people are going to feel better.
We don't know if the reason why people were getting better with COVID had worms. I think it's like, how can you mass assert that they all had worms?
Because we have studied those populations.
What?
You're going to get clip of the day for this clip.
But
I want to mention something, by the way. The Nobel Prize and all the rest was won because of its curation of river blindness, not worms. But it's beside the point. These are just a bunch of numbnuts that are just trying to kill time. It's unbelievable how stupid that they even allow this kind of stupidity to come, even on a podcast.
Do you want to hear more? There is more.
Yeah, I might as well.
That the concentration of people with worms is extremely high.
I think it's a pretty plausible theory. But I mean,
it's a plausible theory.
There people like McCullough. They have said things that have not borne out. But that's also true of a lot of mainstream sources of information about COVID. So I think some people who are a little bit more on the fringe, they get frustrated. Like, why are we being labeled misinformation when, like, the New York Times is casting doubt on boosters in an effort to keep masking in place forever. Like, I completely believe they're doing that. The New York Times is dedicated to that project, or at least its lead COVID reporter is, and they deserve deserve criticism for that. But then also that doesn't mean that, like, no, just all mainstream sources are wrong about everything, and you should only listen to fringe people, because the fringe people have also been wrong about a lot. We've all been wrong, no matter how much level of respectability we get or deserve. We have all been wrong.
Right, and what? Okay.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to take it before we forget.
Clip of the day.
So this was actually in reference to a long-form interview with Dr. Peter McCullough on the Joe Rogan show, Joe Rogan Experience. This has shaken the earth somewhat. Have you seen any excerpts or clips?
No, but we introduced McCullough on our show, I don't know, 6 months ago, and pretty much covered all the stuff that he had to say.
Of course.
And so I didn't bother to listen. Even when McCullough comes up with something new and he's still producing, I don't listen anymore because we've heard it all.
That's exactly what I like about this. Is I've 3 clips, 2 of them are 30 seconds. That are just dynamite for people to use. So they're in the show notes as always. I just got to play these because it's the pieces that we've been talking about and have heard him talk about and played clips from for a year and a half, maybe longer. I mean, he was on the scene pretty quick, McCullough.
Maybe, yeah. Possible.
All right. So here's one that is courant that we kind of have heard from him, but heard more information coming from Australia.
That's called the spike protein. 1,200 amino acids, about a dozen glycosylation sites. It has some homology, by the way, to HIV. And so a lot of people don't know this, but one of the original antigenic vaccines that was tested in Australia exposed that HIV epitope. It turned everybody in the trial HIV positive who took a COVID-19 vaccine in Australia. These young people were outraged. And so this was on the internet. It was quickly suppressed. But if anybody wants to type this in right now, you can actually learn that one of the very first vaccines tried in Australia actually turned everybody HIV positive. They didn't have HIV, but there was a molecular trickery that was going on.
Just something to have for the archives. Then we have, hold on a second. Yes, the death count mystery.
That's how the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health had the death count up on CNN and MSNBC and Fox as a scoreboard. Do you remember the scoreboard was number of cases and deaths? How do they get that, Joe? Come on, I fill out death certificates every day. Do you know the average death certificate comes to me 6 weeks after the death? How are they getting these deaths, instantaneous numbers, picking up every day? It was extraordinary what Americans saw. So
how were they getting that?
To this day, we don't know.
I have to add to that the change now in the language is 800,000 Americans have died from COVID. Like, no, that's not true. What happened to with COVID? That's just
There's no way 800,000 have died from COVID, just COVID.
Well, have you listened to any reports? That's all they say. 800,000 have died from COVID. It's now from COVID.
Well, they've switched. They do this. They've switched. They kind of just ease the language.
Yeah,
over,
sure. But
ease it.
Needs to
Who's
going to
object?
No. Well, yes, and we're going to get in trouble for it eventually. Oh no. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We got to do it.
The angel of death.
Get in trouble.
The angel of death. Dr. Osterholm has spoken.
I kind of summarize it in the experience I've had with what I guess I would call conservative media. I've obviously been the point of a lot of very negative comments and statements about what I've been putting forward is the problem and what we need to do about it. And as of this past week, 6 of the conservative media people who have wailed on me over the last 2 years have had kind of the ultimate answer about that because they're all dead. They've all died from COVID.
There's your warning right there, pal. And they've died from COVID. None of these guys were overweight, chunky AM radio show guys who might have had some comorbidities. No. Because I know most guys on the radio, they are the bastion of health. We've seen him
as they smoke on the air.
We've seen him. Final JRE clip with McCullough. This is the his claim.
By wait, hold on. So let's get back to Osterholm. Who is he talking about? Limbaugh died of COVID?
No. There were we've been counting these guys. There were six AM, mainly AM radio talk show guys who were anti-vax. Which he says they were against him. I don't know if they've said anything about him, and they died.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Is he says they're against him? They were wailing on him. As
yes,
he said.
wailing, yes,
wailing on him like a madman just punching away.
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed this, and I don't know much about the AM radio guys who dropped dead from COVID.
We talked about it. We were laughing about it because everyone's like, "Oh, they died."
I don't remember laughing about some guy dying.
No, we weren't. The media was laughing about it.
Oh, well, maybe.
Hold on. Host dies of COVID. Let me see if I can bring one up at bingit.io.
There was specifically 6, according to him.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's a lot more than 6 people bitching about this guy. Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh, you okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm hanging in. I'm hanging in there. I'll have to look for it, but we played a couple of clips, I think. Anyway, that's what he's referring to. So now McCullough, who from the very beginning, I think the first time you brought McCullough clips, I was talking about, I don't know why everyone is doing this in lockstep. I don't know what's happening. He says it's a weird thing. So he tries to put it all together here into, thank God, one giant conspiracy theory. I love the guy.
So you believe this is a premeditated thing that they were doing. So they realized that in order to get people enthusiastic about taking this vaccine, the best way to do that was to not have a protocol for treatment.
It's not just my idea. Now it's completely laid out by the book by Dr. Pam Popper, the book recently published by Peter Bregan, COVID-19 and the Global Predators, We Are the Prey. I wrote one of the introductions. Dr. Leif Leet and Dr. Vladimir Lysenko wrote the other introductions. These books are basically nonfiction. They have 1,000 citations in the Bregan book showing how it was coordinated and planned. Now Bobby Kennedy has his book out, The Real Anthony Fauci. I'm the most mentioned physician in that book. I can tell you that if you want to find the evidence that Moderna was working on the vaccine before the virus ever emanated out of the lab, if you wanted to find the collusions and the operations between the Gates Foundation and Gavi and CEPI and Pfizer and Moderna and the vaccine manufacturers and the Wuhan lab and the National Institutes of Health and Ralph Barrick and University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and how all this was organized, if you want to see the Johns Hopkins planning seminar called the SPARS pandemic in 2017, where they had a symposium, people showed up, they wrote up their symposium findings, they published this. It says it's going to be a coronavirus. It's going to be related to MERS and SARS. It's going to come over here to the United States. It's going to shut down cities and frighten people. There's going to be confusion regarding a drug, hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. And we're going to utilize all that in order to railroad the population into mass vaccination. It's laid out in the Johns Hopkins SPARS pandemic training seminar. The only thing they got wrong was the year. They said it was going to be 2025. Instead, it landed a few years early.
Now, this guy has credentials. We must remind everyone.
Credit. He's got more credentials than anybody.
This is quite an accusation.
We can push that aside. He's got tons of credentials. Well,
I mean, it's pretty much what we see.
If it was supposed to happen in 2025, that means the planning would have been better, and they wouldn't have screwed it up.
Yeah, why would the planning have been better?
Well, they could have done another test run on something. They could. There's a lot of. I mean, the more you wait for something that's this much of a scheme, I don't know what the idea was. What the long term. I mean, besides turning the world into one world government, I think there was. We talk about it all the time on the show. Oh, that was a mistake. They're gonna have to fix that the next time they try this. Oh, that was no good. They're going to have to fix that little blunder. They're all small. And the public mostly is 100%. They're not 100% in. There's a good, 30% of the population that won't get the shot.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because that's entirely true. We go back to July 2nd, 2009, episode 109 of the best podcast in the universe. You will note that the sound of the day is very different than now.
The one that really got my attention this morning, somebody sent in. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't credit him, but I'll actually blog it and credit him there.
I might have it.
The 600 million doses of swine flu are needed for the U.S. And I'm looking at this.
That's exactly what they're doing in every other country. 2 for each individual. 300 million people, 2 doses, forced vaccinations coming your way.
It's ridiculous. They're not going to pull it. They're not going to get away with it.
How about that? What will happen?
We were on that from day one because it originated somewhere in Mexico.
Yes, and it was called the Mexican flu in Europe. It was, I think, it was swine flu in the U.S., but in Europe they call it the Mexican flu because it was from the Mexican swine, they say.
Yeah, what a great, the backstory didn't work out.
No.
They got their act together and finally, But I think that this was not. It's almost like you have a plan that you're working on, and then something just fortuitous happens. In other words, a virus is released, the right kind, the ones that they know they're working on these things because Fauci and the NIH were developing these deadly viruses on our taxpayer money, and they were doing it in China, and one gets out. And I said, well, let's implement our plan now. This is a good time.
That's a possibility. There's something else I've been trying to kind of wrap my head around, and it's this going direct agreement or panel discussion that the central bankers had in Jackson Hole in 2019, September of 2019. And it's some serious bankers, from who was it? Stanley Fischer, who was chairman of Citigroup, Philip Hildebrand, who was governing board of Swiss National Bank, a whole bunch of these bankers. The names mean nothing to us, but the positions do. And they came up with this plan so this is just before the pandemic hit, and it's called Going Direct. And going direct means that, pretty much how the Treasury and the Fed, they hired BlackRock, and BlackRock is now managing our money, I guess. And BlackRock is buying securities and bonds on behalf of the American people. And so part of what they say is we need to go around the interest rate channel and go directly into Wall Street, and also, when necessary, go directly into people's pockets. And from what I understand, and I'm waiting for the former New York banker to shoot me down, of course, is that something was, we had the overnight repos were spiking, was up to $1 trillion. Something was really wrong in the system. And then we have a coincidental and fortuitous situation where we can lock down the economy, stop everything in its tracks to regroup, figure out how we're going to print more bank reserves, and eventually maybe collapse everything. And if you look at the insiders selling, I was hoping you might have a track on that. But there's the CEO of Microsoft. What's his name? Sanjay? No. The Microsoft CEO. He sold half of his stock. Half. Elon Musk, what has he sold? 10 billion now? What's going on?
He sold a lot. Elon sold a lot. He sold a lot of stock.
And I was just going to say, what bothers me is I was listening to DH Unplugged, and you guys were talking about this in general terms and the inflation and all that. And I kept hearing Horowitz say one thing. There's something going on. I don't get it. There's something weird. There's something I don't understand. When I hear that, there's something going on.
Now, I will mention one thing, just maybe a little pin in the bubble. Horowitz has been saying this for 10 years.
I know. Damn it. Damn you, Dvorak. You buzzkill. There he is, the buzzkill.
It's pretty much his shtick.
Okay.
But, yeah, we look at these numbers and some of the stuff, and a lot of it is fishy, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, and something's got to give, but it's not giving. And these guys, I don't fault Musk or Microsoft
at all.
Skinny Microsoft guy,
that guy,
because the stocks are overpriced. Microsoft's through the roof.
Yeah,
and it's time to take some stuff out. Now's the time you take your. Take half of your winnings. That's the old rule.
Mm-hmm.
If the thing is jacked up, you take half off the table, and then you play with the house money, and you leave that run. If it runs up too much, you take another half off, and that's what he's dull. He's just following an old way of doing things. So that guy doesn't matter. And Musk is a little more interesting because he's bailing out left and right. He's never shown signs of doing this before. He usually, when the stock goes down, he
buys more,
jumps in.
Yeah. No, so something's up. But in addition to that, what basically happened is the interest rate is so low that companies could borrow as much money as they wanted, and they were making the stock go up with this, in addition with BlackRock buying, Apple. So Apple would buy back their shares. Then the government, thanks to BlackRock, who's managing $7 trillion worth of money of their own outside of the government, they go and buy shares. The price goes up. These guys are making out like bandits, especially the executives and people who have stock and options, and we're just getting poorer for it. It's our money.
Well. The idea would be, I can take the other side of this.
Okay.
The idea would be, it's your money, but what's it doing? It's keeping the economy from collapsing, and you do have a job. So shut up, slave.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I feel much better now you've said that to me. But then I hear Pelosi, and I'm like, yeah, I know the answer, lady.
The fact is that there is an attitude of lawlessness in our country that springs from I don't know where. Maybe you do.
No. How about from the top, Miss Pelosi, with your $100 million in gains? It's crazy. Of course, people at the bottom are looking at the top saying, well, those guys are looting. We might as well loot as well. Isn't there some philosopher who said that? Like, if there's corruption at the top, there'll be corruption at the bottom. There's some famous quote, like a Descartes type guy.
I mean, that's a pretty well known that the fish rots from the head.
Yes, okay. It was more specific.
Okay, from the head and the butt.
So, but now let's just take it all into perspective. So maybe the virus, maybe it was a great time for this to happen, and everybody wanted it anyway. Hey, can you guys go a couple years early? I don't know, Fauci. What do you think? Yeah, Fauci wheeze. Yeah, we can go early, no problem. It's and it'll help us because, Trump. Let's screw that guy on the way out.
Actually, the Trump situation may have encouraged them to go early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'd be perfect.
Well, they went early, and they went early.
So far,
they were very effective. They came pretty close to one world government.
It's not over yet. The Netherlands, there is more to the world.
Well, now what I'm looking at, I see nothing but desperation.
Yes.
Because this Omicron, which is a weak sister, it's not going to do anything. It's not killing people off left and right. And they're stuck with it, so they're trying to... no. In fact, I've got my clips are all the same kind of things from NPR, making Omicron seem like a scary, horrible thing. Listen, it might come and bite us in the night.
I'll set you up with a 7-seconder from ABC.
The chief medical officer at Moderna warns that if someone is infected with both the Omicron and Delta variants, it could lead to the formation of a new variant.
Oh, now we're cooking. A new variant can come from the Omicron variant.
Yeah,
nice,
sure.
Nice.
Called the common cold.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the variant. Well, let's see what we got here. I get my glasses. Well, there's a couple of things. There's new mask mandates. Is kind of silly. And I think it was mentioned in an earlier clip where they're trying to, New York Times just wants to get everybody to, was mentioned by the
Hill people, the Hill crew.
The Hill people. Now
Hill people. That's an insult to my Hill people, actually. We can't call that.
Well, let's go with COVID new mask mandates from NPR.
A new statewide mask mandate in California takes effect today, but it is only one of a handful of states requiring masks. With the Omicron variant spreading fast, some public health experts say more states need to mandate masks in public. Here's NPR's Selena Simmons-Duffin.
There's no mask mandate in Michigan despite overwhelmed hospitals. There's none in Tennessee or New Hampshire. And while federal health officials are encouraging individuals to mask in public, they don't seem as eager to bring mask mandates back. Dr. Emily Landon, an infectious disease physician at the University of Chicago, managed to convince the governor of Illinois to keep its statewide mask mandate in place. She wishes more states would follow suit.
We want to avoid having hospitals be overwhelmed. We want to avoid having impacts on our economy. And the best way to do that is to keep cases as low as possible. And that means having a mask mandate in place.
She says with Omicron possibly spreading very quickly, vaccinations and boosters may not be enough on their own.
Oh, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Oh, you're going to die.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Scolding the states. They're scolding the states.
Yeah.
Then they're bringing in these people. There was a good Substack column. I think I posted it on. It wasn't mine. I posted a link to it on the No Agenda Social, and it was discussing these health department people they're out of control. We should just ignore them, fire them all. They're not doing anything for public health, and they've gotten. All of a sudden, this came up in the early days of this thing. If you remember, in early 2020, we talked about these health professionals, all of them looking sick. A lot of them are sickly looking. And they're gone. They've been in the office too long. They've never gone out and done anything for real. And now they're getting power, and their power is corrupting them.
And that is exactly the case with Chris Whitty. He is England's chief medical officer. The guy looks like death warmed over. And they are tripping out in the UK.
This is a really serious threat at the moment.
Oh!
How big a threat? There are several things we don't know.
Okay.
But all the things that we do know are bad.
Bad.
And the principal one being the speed at which this is moving. It is moving at an absolutely phenomenal pace. And therefore, between the time that it first starts to really take off in a way people will be able to see, and the point when we get to very, very, very large numbers will be quite a short one. And that, I think, is part of the issue. This is a record number of cases. I'm afraid we have to be realistic that records will be broken a lot over the next few weeks as the rates continue to go up. I am afraid there will be an increasing number of Omicron patients going into the NHS, going into hospital, going into intensive cares, and the exact ratios we don't yet know, but that there will be substantial numbers, and that will begin to become apparent, in my view, fairly soon after Christmas.
Now, I think this fairly soon after Christmas, that's the signal, because they can't impose new lockdown-like restrictions because of the embarrassment of their Christmas party last year. And people are pissed about that. Driving billboards past the Scotland Yard, why aren't you investigating? So, they're angry. So I've heard January 4th, and he's like, oh, yeah, well, we'll know after Christmas. Yeah, after Christmas, it'll be just like the Netherlands. You remember they had a 3-week curfew, 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. That was just extended until January 14th. That's ruining the whole economy.
So when I was an air pollution inspector, I had to work with the health department people quite a bit. And I came to the realization that they're all crackpots and nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd go on about all kinds. If you actually sat down with them or had a coffee or something, they were all lunatics. And what they did for a living was pretty much go into restaurants and look for rat poop.
Right. And
that was their job.
Be Nazis about it.
Yeah. And that was kind of their job. But if you asked them about anything else, they were crack. Don't ever eat sushi was like every one of them. And why? And then they give you some bullshit story. And it's just they were all lunatics. And what their job was to look for rat poop. They were rat poop experts. That's what they should still be.
RPEs.
So, yes, they should be RPEs. And to listen, now that they've gotten this modicum of power, they've abused it, and they've ruined, and the public's going to have to take note of this. And this column this person wrote, I can't remember which one of these many Substack columnists it was, said that we should start ignoring these people and we should start berating them. They're no good.
It gets difficult, though, when you look in Germany and the police are out like in the public square. You know, people are shopping, roaming around, and they have measuring sticks, physical sticks that are 1.5 meters long. And they're like, hey, move along. You're too close. And they're, look. You have to be further away. Oh, now you're too close to that person. Look, there's like two people with sticks. And like, oh, you're wrong. This is the police. The police with measuring sticks.
They're idiots.
Yeah, but that's
the police. You'd think they'd have some common sense in Germany. It's a society filled with people who have an engineering mentality. But no, that's gone. Whatever happened to the engineering mentality of the German people? No, now there's just a bunch of greenies and screwballs.
All right, then I need to play this very short clip. I picked this up from Dutch podcast, one of my buddies. He played this. It's Jordan Peterson. And this is about the, never forget, never again from the Holocaust. Is it never forget or never again? I think it's never again. It's never forget.
Or both.
Well, we don't want it to happen. Everyone agrees. That should not happen again. And here's Peterson's take on it.
There was a lesson to learn from the Holocaust. We're always reminded that. Never forget. We've learned our lesson. There's a lesson to be learned. It's like, okay, fair enough. Man, what was the lesson? That's the question. What was the lesson? And the lesson is, you're the Nazi. That's the lesson. It's like, really? Really? Oh, God, that's a terrible lesson. But I don't see another lesson. It's you. Well, no one wants to learn that. I mean, that's what I've been teaching my students since 1993. It's like, if you were there, that would have been you. You think, well, I'd be Oskar Schindler. I'd be rescuing the Jews. It's like, no, I'm afraid not. Yeah. You'd at least not be saying anything. Right. And you might also be actively participating. You might also enjoy it. You never know.
It's George Soros. And so you put this into context, and I don't have a clip of it, but there's this video going around of a Holocaust survivor, and he's recounting his experience in a kind of a macro level in Germany. And he says, at first it was, we couldn't shop at that time in those stores, and then it could only be certain stores, and then we couldn't go to certain bathhouses, and it got restrictive. And then, and this is an important part, then it was that the Jews could carry disease that could start a pandemic. And with that in mind, it looks like what's happening in Germany or anywhere almost is we're jumping straight to the pandemic disease part. The showers are next.
Well, the horrible thing is that the photos that we have, I think you sent them to me, somebody sent them to me, of the storefronts in Germany.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Yeah, don't buy from unvaccinated stores.
No, if you're unvaccinated, you're not welcome.
No, that's not what it said. No, it was exactly the opposite. It was like the stores were like the Jewish stores. It literally said, do not buy. Yes, go look at the picture.
I looked at it, I thought it said unvaccinated, unwelcome.
No, it was spray painted on their windows. That's not that sign.
Both windows.
Yeah, but it was spray painted, Uningefämpfte. Kauf nicht von Uningefämpfte.
Well, it could be.
No, I know. But that's the analogy is don't buy from Jews.
The point. It's just they're doing the same thing.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people listening to this, if it was a different scenario, different situation, a different mechanism, we might as well. It seems to be.
That's why we were talking about that book in the Garden of whatever it was.
In the Garden of the Beasts, yes.
Which was an account of Americans in the 30s in Germany and having to deal with this kind of nuttiness that was going on. And how would you react? And I think, as you can see, by the amount of people that have lost friendships and all what's going on with this COVID thing, we were just pretty close to it already.
Yeah. Yes.
But it didn't complete the circle. They couldn't quite get the job done.
Well, do you think that they're done? You don't think they're going to try and complete
it? I think they're done. I think they've been done for weeks.
It was something.
This is now desperation, and you can see it. You can sense it.
Well, when you say they're done, what do you mean? That they're done with the lock with the?
They're going to call this. They're going to call it quits once Pfizer gets their pills approved. they're going to pull the plug on the whole thing.
Okay,
We're going to
this makes sense. That makes sense. Now I understand why the president signed an executive order. I think it was yesterday or Tuesday, and this executive order brings it all together. I guess they have to do it now. That's why it didn't go through Congress. A little bit of a statement. The federal government must design and deliver services in a manner that people of all abilities can navigate. We must use technology to modernize government and implement services that are simple to use, accessible, equitable, protective, transparent, and responsive for all people of the United States. When a disaster survivor, single parent, immigrant, small business owner, or veteran waits months for the government to process benefits to which they are entitled, that lost time is significant cost not only to that individual, but in aggregate for our nation as a whole. It's called the lost time tax. That's how they're selling this. But if you look at the executive order, and it is a legal document with a lot of stipulations, this is for your actual passport, for your travel passport, for your driver's license, for any type of services you use from or with the government. They're trying to push this through now, or at least get the legislation on the books and hope no one cares about it so they can move forward, because that part is not ready yet. They need the ultimate direct into, you have a bank account with the government. It's coming. But in that case, you're right. They messed it up. They're not going to be able to do it.
But 2025 lurks.
Yes, because stuff was ready for it. And that's probably the CBDC date, in reality, to really do it. That sounds more plausible than it's happening tomorrow, XRP for the win.
Yeah. They could push it off to 2025 is what it was.
I'm trying to determine how much longer we have to do this damn show. It's like I can take the midterm. If it's going to be
the 2025 thing happens, and we're still, we'll do the midterm.
We could do the
midterm. But if 2025 happens and they move it up or anything, that's just got it. We just have to do it for the benefit of all mankind.
Aren't you tired like me sometimes? Sometimes just like, it's tiring being a part of this. It's tiring. It's tiring. Well, interesting. I think we've already solved the problems. That's what's coming. 22 is going to suck, everybody. It's going to suck like duck. Yeah. And, I would expect, and there's a lot of...
They have an economic mishap. This is going to screw up all the timelines.
Well, what's back in the news is ransomware, and they're going after the energy again. We've got the propane... a home propane delivery company ransomware. And propane is already 3 times as much as it was. Boston or Massachusetts warning rolling blackouts possible this winter. Maine, the same thing. And then we have, my goodness, we got so many pieces of information from people about AdBlue and diesel exhaust, the DEF. We're on to something
some of
here.
It quite good.
We're on to something here. This is an enormous scam.
It's a huge scam.
And particularly because when you run out, it's not spewing stuff onto your exhaust pipe. It's a little more complicated than that. But all these things are set up with computers to either derate, that means you go down in power, or just not start and stop altogether. And that's going to be claimed, and that's all for climate change. And this is going to do more harm to supply chains, do all kinds of damage. And they're just going to act like, oh, I'm sorry, the trucks don't run without it. Yeah, technically true.
Yeah, technically true, because there's a computer and a sensor, and the sensor says, I'm out of this stuff. Turn off the engine.
I was reading an article from the BBC News, which we could say is pretty credible. This is from October 2010, and it's talking about ultimately making electricity from urine, which it would be, I know, this has always been my dream. They think that, carbamide power systems, use urea fuel cells sourced from human urine. But what is fun about this article is they completely debunk this lie that, oh, well, people say it's pig urine, but that's not true. Right here in the article, it says, in bacon-loving Denmark, where ammonia around pig farms is a serious pollutant, the company Waste2Green has started collecting pig urine before the ammonia is released. It then uses the urea in a diesel exhaust cleansing product. Hello? Pig.
Wow, that
pig
is
piss.
the clip of the day.
It's not even a clip.
That's a great find. You got to send me a link to that. That's a
it's
good
in the
one.
show notes, too. Yeah, and I was...
Boy, that's a pisser.
Ah, there he is. Yes, it is. And also got one of our producers saying, hey, I'm a dialysis technician. Urea is one of the waste products excreted in urine that we manually remove from people during dialysis. Your exit strategy is farming it from humans that are having it removed during dialysis. You get some potassium and calcium to boot. There you go. We could be selling.
Yeah, we could be like another Dan Quayle.
What?
Taking advantage of of this human systems.
Oh my goodness! It's like, this is crazy. Do they also use this on? I mean, it's everywhere, including in Texas. I have it here.
By the way, while you're looking that up,
yeah,
that AdBlue,
yeah,
can be used as a straight up fertilizer.
Yes, I know.
You have to dilute the hell out of it, by the way, if anyone wants to try this. Like, I did the calculation, I forgot it, but it's more than 10 to 1. It's really a high number because it's just so concentrated with nitrogen. It's way up there. It's like, I don't know, 32, 36%, 38% nitrogen. It's like be 3800 on the package.
Our dude named Ben, the protector of the megawatts, he was talking. This goes back to the SCR. The same thing. The DEF, the converter, that stops the engine. He says it's not just diesel engines. Every coal power plant currently running and many natural gas plants use this as part of their emissions control. Urea was first used in power in the 70s and 80s. Since then, modern plants have replaced it. However, there are several large power plants in Texas that are dependent upon it, or the EPA will not allow them to run. Guarantee you we're going to see this. Yes, sorry. We couldn't run a supply shortage. What was the supply shortage? Well, pig urine.
We can get in this business and you're in the money.
Start drinking. So that just, the guys in the power world, they're thinking that it's coming. They're going to pull the plug for a day and do something nutty, and that'll be in concert with the financial markets. Given these are, of course, dudes named Ben, and, they talk with me, so by definition, they're crackpots. But I'm kind of warming up to this idea. Let's crash the whole damn thing. Don't worry, we'll get you your money. Yeah. Send you money. And how else is it going to work? If you look at what's happening
electronically,
so many people are taking early retirement. When you take an early retirement, doesn't that somewhere down the line put a burden on Social Security that isn't there and that has to be paid for?
No.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay.
It actually takes a little burden off Social Security.
Okay. Oh, well, that's... How come I always hear, well, when these people retire, there's going to be no money for them?
Because they're all going to retire when they're supposed to. And the problem is the number, the sheer number, but they've all contributed to Social Security. And if they were doing their business right, not stealing from the fund, the government has plenty of money to pay.
Yeah, well, we can totally trust BlackRock to manage that.
So let's go back to our clips and
yes, I'm sorry for the
diversion.
Go to
Omicron.
Yes,
and talk about the boost.
We need to hit the boost.
There's more mixed news today about the power of the vaccines to protect people against the Omicron variant.
I like this. It's now the power of the vaccine.
This time from the Moderna vaccine. NPR health correspondent Rob Stein joins us now with details. And Rob, I know there's been reporting about the Pfizer vaccine and how it protects against the Omicron variant. We have not heard as much about Moderna. Tell us the difference. What have you learned?
What you learn?
Yeah, that's right. So the new evidence today comes from researchers at the National Institutes of Health and Duke University. These teams tested antibodies from the blood of 30 people who got 2 Moderna shots and 17 people who also got a Moderna booster.
A whole 17
and first,
people.
The bad news.
Yes,
antibodies from the first 2 shots appear to be far less effective at neutralizing the Omicron variant in the lab. Here's David Montefiore at Duke. He helped conduct the experiment.
The antibodies that people make after they get the standard 2 inoculations of the Moderna vaccine are 50 times less effective against Omicron than they are against the original form of the virus, which is an indication that there's going to be a greater risk of breakthrough infections with Omicron.
And that's obviously disappointing, because Moderna's protection had seemed like it might be a bit stronger than the other vaccines, raising some hope that it would be better against Omicron too. But it looks like it's about the same as the Pfizer vaccine when it comes to Omicron.
You also said they tested people who got a Moderna booster. What did they find about that?
Yeah, so that's the good news. Just like Pfizer, this experiment indicates that getting a Moderna booster pumps the protection basically back up to where it's been against Delta. Here's David Montefiore again.
What these results are telling us is that if Omicron becomes a dominant variant, it's going to become even more important that people get their boost.
My goodness.
So we go to, that's yes. Yeah. It's just, and this is NPR, by the way.
It's brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah, pretty much. So here we go with the Omicron Boost BS2 UG.
But based on these findings and similar findings about the Pfizer vaccine, it looks like a third shot of these vaccines should suffice. No need for a whole new vaccine specifically targeted at Omicron. Here's Dr. Anthony Fauci at today's White House briefing.
Our booster vaccine regimens work against Omicron. At this point, there is no need for a variant-specific booster. And so the message remains clear. If you are unvaccinated, get vaccinated, and particularly in the arena of Omicron, if you are fully vaccinated, get your booster shot.
What do we know so far about Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah. So scientists are doing similar experiments testing the J&J vaccine alone, as well as the J&J vaccine with a Pfizer booster. Right now, I expect to have some results by early next week.
At this point, where do things stand with Omicron in this country?
Yeah, so Omicron's already been detected in at least 33 states and is spreading fast. It's already been detected in 13% of samples in the New York and New Jersey area, for example. And based on how fast Omicron's spreading in other countries, it seems like Omicron's on a trajectory to overtake Delta and quickly become the dominant mutant in this country within weeks. So that's, setting off big alarm bells, especially because Delta is already surging across the country, pushing many hospitals to their limit and killing more than 1,100 people a day. I talked with one researcher today who's advising the CDC, who says in the most pessimistic scenario, things could get as bad as last winter's horrific surge. But she stresses there's so much uncertainty about Omicron, it's really impossible to really know at this point how bad things might get.
Oh, my goodness. He's breathless.
How bad things might. They're never not how good things might get, or this is turning around, or Omicron's a dud. No. How bad? Oh, this is your NPR for you, people.
CBS had New Hampshire Governor Sununu on about the winter surge.
We turn now to New Hampshire, where COVID cases are on the rise as temperatures drop. Governor Chris Sununu joins us from Newfields. Good morning to you, Governor.
Good morning.
Well, it is stunning to see hospitalizations in your state. They've jumped about 25% over the last 2 weeks. I know you've asked for help from the National Guard and help from FEMA. Why do you think you're seeing such a dramatic spike?
It's winter.
It really is. And we've been planning for this winter surge since July. I had teams when we saw numbers increasing all across the southern part of the country. We had teams and CEOs of hospitals visiting other states to see how they were managing kind of that summer Delta surge so we could prepare. So unfortunately, we were right in that the surge is upon us. And what you see all across New England right now, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, are rising cases, the upper Midwest. And now you're seeing it more in the mid-Atlantic states, unfortunately, like New Jersey and New York. So ultimately, as winter comes, the seasonality, if you will, of this virus is really taking precedent, but we're prepared.
Yeah, prepared. And how did they... Well, wait.
Hold on a second.
I'm waiting to hear how they prepared. It's 30 seconds. Just listen to the prepared part.
You got boosted yesterday, I understand. Why did you wait so long?
Well, we did a booster blitz yesterday, which was great. So frankly, it was not a promotion more than anything. We put about 12,000 needles in arms across the state all in one day in dozens of locations across the state. We'll do it again. You can only do those every once in a while because you don't want to draw off of the hospital system and the nurses and the frontline workers that have to give that. So every few weeks, we're going to do these booster blitzes. So if anything, it was more out of the promotion of it. But it was a great day, hugely successful, and we're going to do it again.
I like that as a band name, Booster Blitz.
All right, in his first clip that he specifically said seasonality.
Yes.
If you remember the clips back in 2020, in the very beginning of this thing, when they had it isolated, they figured out what was going on. It was not a seasonal disease.
It would be with us forever. We're all going to die. 3 million.
But it was the main thing was not seasonal.
Correct.
They made a big stink about that. They made a big stink about two things. Both of them violated in these clips from NPR or wherever you got that thing. One,
CBS.
Don't mix the vaccines, whatever you do.
Yeah, that was another good one.
And, by the way, mixing J&J with Pfizer, that's not even the same technology.
Do you remember when the Pfizer was, I think, Pfizer had to be frozen at like a minus 1,000 degrees, and now they're showing up in Yeti coolers? Yeah, it's good to go.
Yeah.
It was all this special stuff. The Army had to transport it in specially made and purchased refrigerators. Yeah, all of that. All of it. It's all a big scam. Here's ABC about Omicron.
The U.S. has seen a 7-fold increase in Omicron cases in the last week, now making up 3% of all cases and 13% of cases in New York and New Jersey. Early data suggests Omicron causes less severe illness than other variants, but doctors are concerned about what appears to be Omicron's ability to evade vaccines.
Mills, one dribble. Yes!
The number of vaccinated professional athletes testing positive is seemingly growing by the hour. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets had only 8 players for their game, the minimum amount allowed before a game is postponed. And ESPN reports 75 NFL players have now tested positive in the last 2 days. The coach of the Los Angeles Rams says all 9 of his players who tested positive are vaccinated.
You know, the scary thing about all of this to me is every single person is vaccinated that we're talking about.
I played this clip because I know you have a dynamite theory.
Oh, yeah. You heard it on Horowitz.
Yeah, I did. And I got this clip from the custodian. I'm like, okay, I got to play this because John's got a good theory, and I like it.
Well, the theory, we've talked about this theory before, and I'll just highlight it from the beginning. Gambling interests.
Yes.
And the reason it comes back to mind is that when LeBron James... he tested positive for COVID, and he posted it and he had to be taken out of a game that was coming up for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he posted on Twitter, I tested positive for COVID, and then put a bunch of emoji fish all over the post, as in fishy.
Fish.
So he had to be out of the game. And so this is a gambling interest thing, it seems to me, because then he tested negative. And they were supposed to come back with 2 negative tests. You can go back, but you were still going to miss a game. So he missed a game. He tested negative. And so instead of just testing negative twice like everybody would do to get back, he tested negative 8 times in a row to make his point. He never said anything because he can't. But he's indicated that he thinks that this was something fishy, and that brought me right back to my theory that this is gambling interest. If you have access to, if you can take some certain players out of a game, you've changed the odds, and the odds are posted in Vegas and elsewhere, and it just doesn't take much to move the odds one way or the other, especially if you can eliminate key players, especially a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers.
Now, when the odds change, if does that presume that you already have your bet in and the odds change? You can bet up to the last second. I mean, how do you benefit from it? Because when everyone sees LeBron is out, then everybody's like, "Oh shit, the odds change. I'm going to bet differently." Where's the advantage?
The advantage is the first advantage is the best advantage, where you get some specific odds that you know is going to change in the other direction, and you now you made a bet that's going to pay better than it would have when it turns out the player's not going to be there. When LeBron James is taken out of a game, for example, and you bet on the other team, it was a longer shot for you to win. Mm-hmm. But once LeBron James is taken out, now all of a sudden the odds change, but you're locked into the old odds, so you make a lot of extra money.
You can tell I don't bet. So now at least I understand.
There's a lot of different ways you can go, and you can also straddle. There's other kinds of betting techniques you can use especially if you know what's going on, or if you're controlling it. This has got illegal gambling and legal gambling written all over it. And I think LeBron James was aware of it, and that's why he put the fish out there and took 8 tests afterwards.
Interesting.
He's just not going to say anything.
How cavalier they are in this time of the Omicron variant scare. So cavalier of them.
And by the way, I will mention this too. There have been, like I said, 75 NFL players and a whole slew of basketball players that have tested positive. None of them have gotten sick. Not one has been hospitalized. None of them that I know of have even had any symptoms. This is bull crap.
Let's check in with Bloomberg. Let's take a quick gander at the global booster outlook.
I was going to ask you about just booster shots, Emma. There seems to be a lot of the data now that suggests that booster shots are enough to at least neutralize Omicron here. Why do you think the third shot really does the job?
Well, I mean, the only data we have thus far is related to the Pfizer-BioNTech shot. Other vaccine makers, including Sinovac and Sinopharm, the other Chinese vaccine maker, are still looking into it. Though for AstraZeneca, it does suggest, yes, a third shot will be beneficial there. But yeah, I mean, just the sort of small amount of information, preliminary information that has come out about this has seen a bit of a rush by countries toward boosters. You've seen Australia bring forward its timeline for administering boosters. Korea, which is seeing a record wave of cases at the moment, despite having an over 80% two-shot vaccination rate, one of the highest in Asia. They have steadily reduced the gap between that second dose and the third. So countries already really sort of seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to boosters there.
Everyone's in lockstep. Doesn't matter if it's just basically a common cold. Matters not. We're just all pushing to bring the plans forward, get ready for booster shots. There was a hack done. There was a hack done on the EU vaccine pass, on the website at least. And it looks like the database is prepared for 8 booster shots. There's entry fields for 8. So, I mean, that could just be a placeholder or someone having some fun. And we can't forget the all-important Pfizer pill. The Pfizer pill. We're getting ready for it.
When it comes to just what we've been hearing from Pfizer on their pill, some good news there on how it's going to treat COVID.
Yeah, I mean, some interesting news out of 2 studies from Pfizer overnight. It does significantly help prevent hospitalization, so severe manifestations of COVID. But kind of surprisingly, because a lot of people, particularly in markets, have been betting on these COVID pills as sort of being, the neutralizer of the pandemic, the Tamiflu of COVID. Kind of surprisingly, they weren't as effective in neutralizing the milder symptoms that are more common in so-called breakthrough infections, so infections in people who have had two doses at least.
It sounds like that pill sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, she's full of crap. That's not true.
It's not true?
No. Not from the stuff I've been reading. I don't know where she got that.
Well, she's Bloomberg. You would think that Bloomberg had it down straight. And I guess the final official we can listen to who sets us up, although Fauci is out there talking about this, is Gottlieb on the board of Pfizer, former FDA. He left just before Trump came in, I think. He was all set up, FDA commissioner, and now he's on CBS talking about the company's plans, couched as an expert telling you what should happen.
Doctor, Pfizer CEO said this.
Wow, Margaret, did you hear how she started?
Doctor, Pfizer CEO said this. Doctor, Pfizer CEO.
She's a lizard.
Doctor,
she is a lizard. Well, she's a big
CEO
fan. She's a Hillary clone.
Lizard.
Doctor, Pfizer CEO said this week a fourth dose of the mRNA vaccine might be needed against Omicron sooner rather than later. There are so many vaccine skeptics out there.
Hey, stop.
Stop.
I have the idea. So take the fourth dose before you take the third.
I love it.
Against Omicron sooner rather than later. There are so many vaccine skeptics out there. For those who say, this is just big pharma trying to push vaccines.
I love how this is. You're right. This is where the desperation comes in. When CBS, Margaret Brennan has to mock us because who else is she mocking? Maybe Tucker Carlson, but no. I think that shows weakness. I think you're right. This is true desperation.
Many vaccine skeptics out there. For those who say, this is just big pharma trying to push vaccines. What is your explanation of the science here?
Hold on. Let's ask the guy who's on the board of a vaccine company if this is just vaccine companies trying to sell more vaccine. I think this guy is the guy you want to ask that question.
For those who say, this is just big pharma trying to push vaccines, what is your explanation of the science here?
Well, he's talked about the fourth dose specifically in reference to immunocompromised individuals. And in fact, we know that some people who are immunocompromised, organ transplant patients, for example, doctors are prescribing multiple doses for those patients because we know they don't get a good response to vaccines generally. And Israel's also looking at making a fourth dose available to a subset of the population who have immune-related disorders. What he also talked about was the possibility that this is going to become an annual vaccine. And I do think that this is going to be, for a period of time, something that we have to get revaccinated for on an annual basis, in part because immunity wanes and in part because it's going to drift over time.
It's going to drift over time, you see. That's science. It's going to drift. It's going to drift. You'll need a shot, at least for the next couple of years, to like 2025, maybe. Just so we can keep those no agenda guys going. Yeah, sure.
And this is the update, kind of an update. It's a very good one, too, from NTD, New Tang Dynasty. And it's an update which gives me pride as a foamer.
Oh, sorry.
It's the rundown of the mandates.
All right.
Amtrak has suspended its COVID-19 vaccine mandate for employees. That's according to its chief executive officer. And now the company no longer expects service disruptions in January.
Nice.
Amtrak CEO Bill Flynn said that employees who don't get the vaccine can be tested regularly instead. On Tuesday, the passenger railroad operator said it was suspending its vaccine-only mandate for employees. Currently, less than 500 Amtrak workers are unvaccinated, according to the CEO. A recent federal court order, in part, informed Amtrak's decision. That order halted the enforcement of President Biden's executive order, which required federal contractors to mandate the vaccine for their employees. The CEO said this caused Amtrak to reevaluate its own policy towards vaccine mandates, and Tesla CEO Elon Musk has spoken out against COVID vaccine policies. He says those shots should not be mandatory in the U.S., particularly when they leave employees leaving to choose between the vaccine and their job. Musk said this in an interview with Time magazine. The billionaire has been vaccinated, and he says he is pro-vaccine. According to CNBC, Google told its employees they will lose pay and eventually be fired if they don't comply with its vaccine requirements. The outlet cited internal documents. According to a memo among Google's leadership, employees had to show proof of vaccination electronically or apply for an exemption, such as a medical or a religious exemption, by December 3rd. After that date, the company would start reaching out to employees who didn't upload their vaccine status or who didn't get a vaccine without an approved exemption. Workers from United Airlines were asking a federal court to stop the enforcement of their company's vaccine mandate. 3 judges in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals considered the request, but the federal court panel ultimately turned it down. Though one judge said he would have blocked the mandate, that mandate forces workers with religious or medical exemptions to be placed on unpaid leave.
Now, a couple of things. The fact that Amtrak took the opportunity, it was an opportunistic thing they did. They saw, well, there's a court case. Boom, we don't have to do this because it's not going to be anybody with it. So we're going to make sure our employees don't get this mandate.
Which is a very American way of thinking. A very American way of thinking.
It's a very American way of thinking. It's pro, and it's also pro-customer because he felt that, I'm sure 500 is not the number, but they had enough people that were going to have to quit. They were going to have service interruptions, and they already don't have a great reputation for being on time.
Well,
so they don't need this aggravation.
If I could just say, since they run trains, I can see how the MSNBC and CNN might say, well, obviously, the Nazis run the train, so they want all this to happen. They don't want it. They want everyone getting sick on the train. They can totally call Amtrak transportation of the Nazis.
They could if they want, but they won't because trains are good, planes are bad.
But the trains, Amtrak in particular, that's Joe's home base.
Yeah.
That's the president's main thing.
And so but these other guys, they just said, no, we're going to do the mandates anyway. They're the douchebags. Do not fly with United Airlines if you can avoid them.
We got one of our producers sent me a note about United Airlines. I guess the CEO was testifying. And there was a clip, but I didn't pull it. The question was, hey, we gave you all this PPP money. How come you can't complete all your flights? And this guy sat there and was blaming the pilots when really what happened is, they promoted all of their expensive big air, like the big Boeing pilots out in early retirement to move the cheap regional guys into those positions. And then they just took the PPP money and bought their own stock. It's just those guys are real asshole. And if you want to know more, go to nilria.com. It's airline spelled backwards. I can never pronounce it. That's one of our producers. He has a lot of cool stuff about this. But yeah, it's a bunch of bandits, a bunch of crooks. And to make matters worse, looking at supply chains, now American business, although no friends of mine, are being blamed.
There are several progressive groups and lawmakers who are increasingly vocalizing the idea that high inflation is being driven by corporate greed, including companies with high profits, some of whom have met at the White House with the president in recent months. Does the president endorse that idea? Does he think that corporate greed is the big driver of inflation right now?
Well, I think that the president thinks the way people across the country, American families, digest inflation is by price increases. And if you look at industry to industry, it's a little different. So, for example, the president, the Secretary of Agriculture have both spoken to what we've seen as the greed of meat conglomerates. That is an area where people go to the grocery store and they're trying to buy a pound of meat, 2 pounds of meat, 10 pounds of meat. The prices are higher. That is, in his view, and the view of our Secretary of Agriculture, because of, you could call it corporate greed, sure. You could call it jacking up prices during a pandemic. There are other areas where we've seen increases because of supply chain issues, and we're seeing those increases around the world as it relates to gas prices, oil supply, and things along those lines. So I would say there's some areas where we have seen corporations profit from the pandemic, and certainly the president would agree with that component. I don't know the full context of all of their remarks.
Ooh, pandemic profiteers. Wait for it. Pandemic profiteers. Yeah, they're going to blame everybody. It's shambles. It's shambles. The whole thing is shambles, and the whole thing is bull crap. This is the only clip I have left. It's I think it's the Dr. Angelique Coetzee. She is the chief of the South African Medical Association, who is just going on podcasts and Newsmax and other places, waving her arms, going, "Hey, it's really not too bad. Come on, what are you guys doing?"
Well, this this is the woman that we played right away.
Yes, immediately.
When this whole thing broke, and no one's paying any attention to what the reality is. They don't want that. They want to boost.
Yes, they do.
Boost.
After 4 weeks, this is now our 4th week. There's no reason why you can't trust us when we say to you it's mild disease. We're not saying that there will be sick patients. That's not what we're saying. We say the majority is mild. There's no need to hospitalize any of these mild cases. There's really no need. And these patients recover within about 5 days. Whether you are a child, whether you are 80 years of age, whether you've been vaccinated, whether you have not been vaccinated, whether you have suffer from mild diseases, other comorbidities, this is what we see. This is the real life. This is the real experience that we are having. And if we have seen that there are really severe diseases and cytokine storms, everyone was afraid that might happen 2 to 3 weeks later. Well, in primary healthcare, we passed that 3 weeks and we haven't seen it. Again, highly contagious. Yes, you can have 1 million cases. You can have even more than that because it's highly contagious. But the severity of the disease is not Delta. It is mild disease.
So here she's him talking about, and with the correct timeline, after 3 weeks, the cytokine storm, which is where you freak out and you basically spontaneously combust. You burst out in flames as your system is attacking you. She said, that's not happening with this. It's just not happening. It's the cold. So your timeline is still on, man. I think you're right. Fizzles out April, just like the pandemic 100 years ago. And
they can't drag it on any further.
Was there a depression after the pandemic of 1918?
I checked this out very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Huge boom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, the boom began, when you look at the market, the boom began right at the worst part of the pandemic. It went down as the pandemic began, and then it hit rock bottom at the peak of and right at that point when things looked the worst, the market took off, and it just rocketed.
Well, the market, you mean the market took off. Why was that? What was the stimulus for? What was the catalyst?
Nobody knows how the market works.
Were they printing money? Were they buying their own shares?
It was just
probably something like that.
Something worth studying, but it went right into the roaring 20s. Boom, it started right there. The pandemic created the roaring 20s.
Huh. I do have
good times.
Yeah. well, this is all. Yes.
What can I say? I mean, I took a good look at that.
I asked you because I knew you had. That's good. That's good. Well, we'll see how this time. Maybe shit, we blew it last time. We can't have that going on. We got to send everything into a depression.
There's one thing that these guys can't do, which is control the markets. It's too much, too many numbers. I did have a 3x3, by the way, if you want to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I think we should.
Now it's time for 3x3. Experiment by JCD. Comparing stories from ABC, CBS, and NBC. The never-ending 3x3.
That's right, every single first Thursday of the week, John C. Dvorak checks out the Big Three morning show. CBS, NBC, ABC tells us what's going on. If they are keeping up with the times, are we? What are you learning, John?
Well, I'll tell you this. I think I'm going to retire this segment next Thursday.
Oh, it'll be a sad day.
Well, maybe.
You're going to
because
retire.
There's too much. Okay, I'll just start with Good Morning America. Wow.
It's our swan song. Thank you.
Quick catch.
That's our swan song. All right.
That right there is what makes this show great. Okay, so we start with Good Morning America. Of course, I missed the Strahan. They're not talking about Strahan in space anymore, so there's nothing there going on. But they're just Good Morning America giving back.
Giving back.
Yeah. So scan these codes, these QR codes, and there's all kinds of gift codes and deals.
Giving back. Oh, I like that. So ABC is taking money from people to advertise products that they're giving you like a GoDaddy discount code on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So then I go to NBC and they got something called from a couple of football players from Central Florida University that are doing a toy drive, which I guess is a good time of year. And it was a kind of a tearjerker segment. It was good. It's only 400 kids have been gotten anything so far, but that was a nice feel-good segment. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to CBS, and there's the news of the day.
Okay.
They have a little round table that talk about what they think is hot news.
Oh, good. With Gail
so
leading
Bruce Springsteen sells his entire catalog for $500 million.
That's got to be the news of the day.
So here's a guy that was going to leave the country and renounce his citizenship if Donald Trump got reelected.
Yeah.
And, of course, he really was concerned about, where's his music going to end up? He didn't want to be a commercial guy. So now he's just sold the whole catalog to Sony. So now you're going to hear, made in the USA and all kinds of just commercial uses of, loans in the USA. Just every imaginable bastardization of his material.
It's Chevy Truck Month in the USA. Yeah, you're right. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. They sold it to Sony.
Yeah, Sony bought the whole catalog.
Including, oh, my goodness. Yeah, I think he also had a lot of publishing, his own publishing.
They bought it. They bought his whole business, except his concerts. Which, by the way,
did he throw in Patty?
He's going to have to pay royalties on his own songs now.
If he plays them, yeah, likely. That may have been a carve-out, but that would be pretty funny.
It may have been, but But most of the guys I know that have done this, that lost all their material, they always have to pay.
But it's the extent of this deal. I think Bowie did a similar one, only for a tenth of the price. Bowie was a leader, of course. All the leaders get screwed in the money game. He gave up his actual writing, so the ASCAP BMI. He couldn't even play his own song on a podcast. That's right. There's Bruce, everybody. Every man's guy. Down at Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Another
That's
elite.
Right.
That's what exactly
now,
he is.
And how do you think he's going to feel now that he's empowered with $500 million?
He'll squander it on something.
No,
stupid.
don't you think he's going to feel really empowered to go out and talk and make sure?
Oh, yeah, become a political pundit.
Yeah, I think he might need a little, he's going to need it.
Yeah, you're probably right. He's probably going to be, you will be seeing him on talk shows and he'll be pontificating.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to let the news die down of the 500 million, so it's not like, spiking the ball. And then he can go out and he can start talking tard. Speaking of musical geniuses, was that your 3x3?
Yeah, that concludes my 3x3.
It'll be sad.
This time with actual information.
Don't do it too much, okay? Next week will be the last 3x3. I think that's... It's a sad day.
Yeah,
but,
it's run its course, I think somebody.
Yes, but
I do have a plea for the... I know you're going to talk about something, but I'm going to forget to do this. But I have a plea for the dude's name Ben out there.
Mm-hmm.
I need some drivers, Windows drivers, for a MIDI Man Oxygen 8 MIDI keyboard.
Oh,
I have looked high and low for
What are you going to do with
drivers
your MIDI keyboard?
I'm gonna write material.
You got jam?
Yeah, I'm gonna jam.
I want to jam with you, John. I've been waiting with my theremin for 2 weeks now.
I got my theremin ready to go. All right. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there because somebody may have them or something. I can't. The people that all these bull crap. We've got all the drivers. You go there. You got to subscribe.
Oh my goodness! I need to tell you a story. I have a fantastical story. Now, I think I told you that Dave Jackson, who does School of Podcasting, that he connected me with a marketing guy at Tascam about their podcast box that is marginally better, but has the same problems as the Rode box. Right. And so he came, true honest. I'm telling the story. It's an update because we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
So, true to his word, the guy emails me right away. His name is William, nice guy. He says, let's do a Zoom. Okay, fine. And I get into the Zoom, and right away I see it's two guys. It's William and it's Paul, and Paul is engineering. And these guys are both 30 years in the business. The Paul guy is the engineering guy. When Tascam acquired Boss, some of his work, he had created a lot of stomp pedals. And so these are guys who understand working with talent, like musicians, like the guitar guys, and they'll work with them. So there's the marketing guy and there's the technology guy. And the first thing I say is, I've been waiting for this call for 15 years. Thank you for the time. I just want to tell you what's because the marketing guy started off like this. Yeah, Adam, we heard from Dave Jackson that you weren't exactly happy with the product, and maybe there's some things. That's why I brought Paul in to help you, maybe understand some of the features. You don't know how they work. He was at that level. I'm like, boom, get rid of these damn loop back devices. How come I can't bus everything? I got the whole thing planned out. These guys are getting jitty. They're like, holy crap, we want to set you up with Tascam Japan, with the head of product, who's a woman, and we're going to do a call next week. And I said, please explain to me, how did you come up with this particular routing? What is it about? Who have you been talking to in podcasting who told you this was a good idea? And I finally got an answer. Oh, well, podcasters started using them, so we just, made a podcaster manual and instructions. But this comes from the gaming world. And that's why those stupid 8 buttons are on it, John, because the game kiddies want to hit their little sound effects when they're shooting up with their team. This was never intended for podcasting. None of these devices. It's a scam.
Well, that makes nothing but sense.
I know. I was like, facepalm. Of course. This was never a podcast box to start with. It's always been a gaming device.
Yeah, for the guys who like to talk while gaming.
So anyway, I said, look, I'll tell you guys exactly how to do it. I'm happy to. They think they might have headroom in the chipset to add these things in, but they're not sure about it. And if not, it'll be a bigger problem because even though it's a Japanese company, they use Japanese chips. There's problems everywhere with the fabs. And I said, and then I'd like you to talk to my agent, John C. Dvorak, because I think there should be a Podfather signature model. Dave Jackson and I will do the webinar, all this stuff. It's a perfect setup, just like they have Eddie Van Halen. Well, not anymore. Guitar player, and they have the Joe Satriani signature model, and it's a nice little little thing for us.
I think so. I think get some points out of this deal.
No, you need to get points out of this deal. You're my agent.
You're going to get the points. I get a piece.
You get a piece.
I get like a small pice. I get the representative piece.
You get the crumbs. You get my crumbs as usual.
I get the crumbs, which is what you do when you're an agent.
I was really happy, though. Go Tascam, finally.
Well, we'll see.
And it's a non-China company. How about that? That's nice.
Yeah.
You don't sound. I mean, maybe you're just in agent mode, but you don't sound so excited.
Well, I mean, yeah, as long as you don't start giving the store away.
No, that's why. No, but you said don't give in the store away. Like, I'm going to tell them what to do. It's not that hard. You want me to give them all my secrets that I've published on podfathergear.com for 3 years? I mean, is it okay for me to give that away?
Well, you've already given that away.
Exactly. It's out there. They just need the consulting part. They just need the right person.
If they really wanted to do something right, I think a signature model, which would have your name on it, which would cost them X amount per unit, which is no big deal because those units aren't cheap.
Yeah.
It's not like, doing something through one of the Chinese companies. It should be very doable. And I think it would be a snazzy looking thing. Would just get a professional to do your signature.
Please. Well, I'd like to have a whole line. I'd like to have a whole line of devices. I mean, there's one for different kinds of programming.
You could do the whole line, but you got to get the first one to be super successful.
Well, listen, but here's what I sold him on. I said, if you do what I tell you to do and get rid of those hokey ass buttons and all that dumb shit you've got going on, you could spark a revolution of software developers who have just been waiting to connect their, we call it playout software, but I use MAirList. There's all these, cart walls, all of this stuff, which no one has really been able to use effectively because there's never been a multi-channel device that did it all right. I said, you could have developers creating the coolest shit. You're just the engine. You don't need to be in this whole, the whole interface. Stop trying to create podcast interfaces for jingles. You crazy? You can't. And this is how I was talking to him. You can't do that. There's a million other ideas out there. We're gonna change this.
It would be a platform, is what you want them to do.
Yes. Podfather platform, P2, P square.
Podfather P square.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Podfather platform. Today, we're going to learn how to do a podcast. I'm teaching you here, my buddy Dev Jackson, and we have a special guest, John C. Dvorak. John is so great; he's also my agent. John, good to have you here. Welcome to the
be
PP.
Here, Adam. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I like your energy.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the Podfather caster. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, beach of the underground, Phoenix up the air, the dames, the knights out there.
In the morning to the trolls in the troll room. I have a tepid relationship with today on the show. They steered me wrong a couple of times. You be careful what you say in that. And hands up, I want to see you guys. Come on, let's count them here if they scurry away. How many trolls do we have? We have 2,148 trolls on the air everywhere. And we do appreciate them. You can be an active troll if you want to. Just go to trollroom.io. It's easy. You can go there anytime, and whenever you're listening, you can go there right now and say, hey, I'm a troll. And then ask for Gummy Nerds. He'll show you the ropes. You can listen to this show live, noagendastream.com if you just want to listen. But again, you can do it with or without the troll room. It's a good thing. And we anxiously await the expansion of noagendasocial.com in the form of truth.social. Should be launching, I think, next week. That's what I heard, at least. President Trump's Truth.social is Mastodon server, which who knows? It might federate. It could be crazy. But we're out there, and you can follow us. These are not emails.
Crazy not to federate. Hello. Be crazy not to federate.
Well, that's what the Brave guys did. Not the Brave guys. What was their... They're still out there. What the hell is the name of their social network? They were federating. They had to turn it off. The guys that listens to the show. What the hell? Come on, trolls. Gab.
Oh, Gab, yeah.
Gab was Mastodon, and they were federating, and they turned it off. Now, I think that's resources. Because I know that, we're 10,000 people on our server, and we federate. And it's a real job, man. I mean...
What, the Federation puts a big strain on the system?
Yeah, resources, bandwidth, and mainly caching. What are you going to cache? What are you going to keep? Caching speeds up the overall system, but it eats up disk space like crazy, and it's mainly anime porn. So there's choices you have to make when you federate. When you do it, just your instance.
Anime porn. I mean, what's?
Oh, well, stop the show. This came out every year. It is the 2021 Pornhub Year in Review. It's a fan favorite where they give us statistics of the most searched for porn of 2021. And I'm going to give you the top 10. The first one, hentai. There you go. It's Japanese cartoon sex. Number 2, Japanese. Then we get the traditional lesbian, MILF. Then we get Pinay. Pinay, P-I-N-A-Y, Pinay. What is Pinay?
I think that refers to the Philippines.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, and the next one is Asian. Then stepmom. And it gets pretty rude from there. Interestingly, down at the bottom of the list is black, with close behind Indian, Chinese, and teacher. Wow, teacher used to be the top of my list. Now, let's look at it by state. What would you say the number one search for porn term is in California?
In California?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I really don't have a clue.
Asian.
Huh.
Right next to you in Nevada? Twerking. Twerking, yes.
Boy, they're really bored.
Texas. You ready for
Nevada?
Our, what do you think right. Texas is? Our number one search term here in Texas.
Mexican.
Thick Latina.
Okay. Same thing.
Wow, racist much? Then you just look at the East Coast. Connecticut, you should know what the number one porn term is in Connecticut.
Harvard?
No, swinger.
Princeton.
Swinger.
Swinger?
You know those.
What?
You know
Check the calendar.
You know those hedge fund guys and their wives
Swinger.
up there. They're still. What are they supposed to help them? What should they be searching for? What is the tune
I
du
don't
jour?
know. I mean, I don't go searching for porn necessarily, but there's got to be something better than swinger.
DC, number one porn term, vintage, which is really
vintage porn.
Yes.
Look at this nice black and white photo.
New Jersey, bunch of cucks over there. Number one term, femdom. Okay. But New York really, they bring it home. New York, number one search term is swallow. Yes, everybody. We'll be here all
they
week.
swallow a lot there.
Exactly. Sorry for the interruption. Yes. So that kind of stuff is exactly what you'll find on No Agenda Social. Follow John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com or Adam at noagendasocial.com. And we'd like to say hello and a big thank you to the artist who brought us the artwork for episode 1407 titled Gabagoo. Gabagoo, Gabagoo. And that was brought to us by Nessworks, and I realize you and I made a major QA mistake on this one.
I agree.
And I'm angry at myself. I don't know how it happened. We were blinded by the light. Because this was an otherwise outstanding can of fresh pasteurized pig piss, PPP. It had Porky on it. Everything was right. The colors. And then when I looked at it an hour later, or maybe 2 hours later, I see it didn't say pasteurized pig piss. It said pasteurized pea piss.
Which makes no sense.
And it was like I felt so bad.
I felt the same way, and it probably happened to me the same time. I think somebody sent a note and said, "You guys can't spell." I said, "What do you mean you can't spell?" And I looked at this thing and go, "Oh, pea piss." And here's the irony. It's not that Nessworks, who did the piece, didn't clue us in. Take a look at what the title he gave it.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Where's the, here it is. Huh. It says pea piss. Yeah, and then, the one that it was up against was the Kenny Ben buffalo milk pig piss, which in hindsight, I hate to say it, would have been better.
I would have, this is one of those rare moments
very
where
rare.
We would have bumped this piece because of that one
mistake. Yep.
To the Kenny Ben's, which is just called piss, but it's buffalo milk pig piss, and it's got a little pig on the side throwing money away, and it's got a buffalo head. It's a very nice piece, and that's the piece that should have won. Sorry, and I hate to give Nessworks grief over this, but what was he thinking?
Yeah.
It's not his fault. We're the ones that picked it.
But. Yeah. But still, holy
But there
crap.
were other good pieces there was a number of pieces I liked. I may have led us to the Nessworks piece. It may have been my...
No, because I remember it was between those two, and I was
I was pushing for the milk cart.
A little bit, but then you agreed? You agreed just because
totally
it was...
agreed.
But it wasn't a slam dunk. It was not a slam dunk.
Now, I did like the Tied Up Woman, Plan C, done by Spook Number Dirty 3, which is right above that.
Of course, it was whenever it has to do with naked chicks with garter belts.
We never put a naked chick on the cover.
What do you call this? You call this
cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Yeah, naked chick cheesecake. Garter belt and high heels. Okay, might as well. And then holding a pig. But it was nice to see Sir Paul Couture, who, of course, maintains the entire art generator.
Yeah, Couture showed up with a piece with that's the one, the PPP gal.
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about. I'm talking about the tied up one on Plan C.
Yeah. To me, it was, I don't know. you see art in that I don't see that way. It's the jagged kind of Rocky and Bullwinkle stuff always bothers me.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's just a personal preference. It's not that I don't. What else? And I got Tourette's. You want to lay anything else on me, Dvorak? It's okay.
At least you're not cussing me out.
Not yet.
So let's go back. Okay, now the little girl, the Paul Couture piece with the girl holding the pig with the garter bell. I did like that piece.
I understand.
And she's cross-eyed, which is
it has some good elements.
The old line for she's cross-eyed too. It was pretty funny, and I liked that piece. But you weren't going to go.
No, it's too easy. Too easy. Like, come on, if we're going to do that, no, that's just me.
So that's our art rundown for.
But sometimes we choose cheesecake. Sometimes it happens. Normally I do my little spiel here about how important it is that you can use a new podcast app because you can get all these images and the chapters, which Dreb Scott does for us. But a little funnier is, one of the first new podcasting 2.0 features we had with transcripts. Which is like closed captioning, and all the podcasts I do, but it started with this one, have transcripts. And we've talked about, I think in the past, about how the Americans with Disability Act was a big deal. I think when Tina was at Ronald McDonald House Charities, she was, had to transcribe videos because lawsuits were starting to crop up.
Yeah.
And so now Sirius XM is being sued by the National Association for the Deaf and the disability rights advocates for failing to provide captioning and transcripts for the vast majority of its podcasts. How about that?
That's interesting. Well, we do it.
Yeah, of course. We love our deaf, dumb, and blind people. Absolutely. I just thought that was phenomenal. That look how ahead of the curve we are. If you don't want to get sued, podcasting 2.0. Now, let's thank some of our...
I can't say much for these transcripts, by the way.
Oh, no, you're still Chauncey Dvorak. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm Chauncey. Johnsey.
It's Chauncey. It's John C. Dvorak.
Johnsi, isn't it? Or
yeah, someone has some instructions that I just received this morning, and I'll see if I can... See, I thought the AI through ML would figure it out if I told it once or twice. No, you got to go in. You got to do it manually. You basically, it's like an aux
it's
script.
An Indian name, so I probably in India.
Yeah,
famous.
Indian. Yeah, it's a racist algo. That's what it is.
It probably came out of India. There you go.
It's a racist algo. I'm telling you. Now, Silicon Valley, Indian algo, racist Indian algo. So we have a lot of long notes today. I don't know what people were eating. Maybe it's because it's the end of the year and you wanted to write a Christmas card, but it wound up a blog post.
And by the way, we've only gotten like 4 Christmas cards.
Oh, really?
To the box, yeah. It's a really short fall.
Huh. That's typically
so
we get more.
Put us on the Christmas card list at the box. I don't even know. Does anyone even send these out anymore?
I've had multiple people check on my my P.O. box number for exactly that reason. So, yeah, I think so. But certainly not as many as it used to be.
I'm getting notes. Does Adam still have a P.O. box?
Yeah,
he's got the same old one.
Why
it's
don't
in Austin.
Why don't they email me?
Once a month.
I don't understand why they don't email me. Why are they emailing you? It's so weird.
I don't, because Adam at curry.com is so hard to remember.
Exactly. So annoying. Well, we start off with Sean Smith with first executive producer today. Not just executive producer, but also comes in with a show number donation of 1,408. It's been huzzah. It's been quite a while since we've seen that. Belmont, North Carolina. Got a couple jingles there. I love getting shots, which is, I love being vaccinated, but I got you. That's true. Shut up, slave, little Gourier. In the morning. Today I become a baron. I've spoken to Sir Kevin Deals, Earl of North Carolina, and as my protectorate, approves the title Belmont and the Catawba River Basin. The correct pronunciation is Catawba. Okay. Catawba. Catawba. I have to say it later. Catawba. Thank you for correcting me. Grandma always pronounced it Catawba. So both are correct. Well, holy moly, don't confuse me. Please use the Bob Dylan version for the ceremony. I have a whole long story about watching him blaze up backstage in Charlotte and not arresting him because I didn't want to be the cop who arrested Bob Dylan. Yes, you, my friend, are an American. We don't do that in America.
Yeah, you'd be like the cop who arrested Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, that guy.
Nothing to brag about.
Yeah, no good. I was in Key West last year when I became a knight, and I was drunk, and I forgot to ask for my round table contributions. As a true son of the South, I would like liver mush and grits. Adam, please ask John what liver mush is. John, what is liver mush?
I have no idea.
No, it's probably mush that goes with your grits that is made from liver. Doesn't that sound right?
I will look it up.
Okay, good idea. You look it up. I shall continue. If he says it's the same as scrapple, he is wrong and should be soundly admonished. So I'm glad you just said you didn't know, so I don't have to admonish you.
If you don't know, you don't know.
It's like scrapple.
Liver mush is a southern states pork food product prepared using pig liver, parts of pig heads, cornmeal, and spices. It's a regional cuisine.
Sounds as appetizing as haggis.
Yeah, it sounds a little like,
Thanks for all the
you buy it in a can? Does it come in a can? How's it come?
I don't know. We'll see at the round table. Thanks for all the hard work you both do for the show. By the way, John, I went back to Twitter as Baron of Belmont just to boost your numbers. Hope it helped. Thank you for your courage, Sir Sean, the pit of useless knowledge, future Baron of Belmont and Catawba River Basin. And your jingle, sir.
Because I love being vaccinated.
That's true.
Shut up, Slay. Yay!
You've got karma.
I'm going to read this overview. Liver mush is composed of pig liver, pig head parts such as snouts and ears, cornmeal, and seasonings, commonly spiced with pepper and sage. The meat ingredients are all cooked and then ground, after which the cornmeal and seasoning is added. The final mixture is formed into blocks, which are then refrigerated. It typically has a low-fat content and a high-protein content. It's a regional cuisine commonly found in the western part of North Carolina, one of the great states for food, as well as being noticeably present in central North Carolina. It's also consumed in other parts of the state and is available in some areas in other states as well, such as Georgia, Virginia, and Florida. Liver mush is mass-produced in Shelby, North Carolina, by two meatpacking companies, Jenkins Foods and Max Liver Mush and Meat Company.
Wow, the more you know, ladies and gentlemen.
It looks like it's served alongside grits and eggs, which means it's like a bacon. It's a protein part of a breakfast.
I shall ask for some here at in the Hill Country.
There's none there.
I'll do the next one since you just had to read all that. Yitka is from Plano, Texas.
Oh, by the way, one more thing. I want to tell people so they know that the O can now be used in the jingle requests.
The O? Oh. You really? Okay, let's see. This is what John is talking about.
Ooh.
It's the ooh. It's not the O. It's the ooh. Still haven't found that Is Trump the president? Please don't email me saying it's lump. I understand that. Unless you know what I labeled it in my system, which you don't email me. I'm just frustrated. I can't figure it out. Someone sent it to me, though. So someone is going to remember. Yitka from Plano, Texas, up near Dallas, $1,000. We love you guys. Please accept this donation on behalf of $1,000 in honor of my amazing, loving husband, Sir Papa J. That is Sir Papa J. Janosik, of Memphis. And please de-douche him.
You've been de-douched.
So Papa J. Janosik introduced No Agenda to his entire family. His son Adam is, of course, still a douchebag. We are looking forward to our many more road trips where we listen to No Agenda. Our next one is to Hill Country right after Christmas. Mini meetup. Let me know when. Keep up the good work. We absolutely love your show. Couples who NA together stay together. And then quite a number of requests. First, the round table, grilled trout with fingerling potatoes and heirloom tomatoes, and some Balvenie 21 neat. It's too bad I wanted to try those big ball cubes I had, but it's all right. We'll do it neat for you. Then jingles, a little much, a little heavy on the length. It would be about 6 minutes if we played everything you wanted, but Al Sharpton mega cut. Papa J fell out of his chair laughing when this played on episode 1406. So we'll play a little bit of a different one for Papa J. China's asshole, stay woke, oh, the Russians, noodle gun, and you've got karma to our beloved listeners. And we thank you very much for your courage.
Resist, we must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race, then co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono, Fran Drescher, Sigourney Weaver, suspect Jahar Tsarnaev, Rush Limbaugh. The show Rush Lombard hosts Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
China is asshole.
My millennials. Stay woke!
Oh, those Russians.
I'm gonna shoot you in the face with my noodle gun, you racist piece of shit. I got my pasta Glock locked and loaded.
You've got karma.
Now I'll say this. If you're going to put a bunch of clips together, make sense out of it. It should be like either tell a story. This is just random dumb clips. That's my thought on it.
Well, thank you for this moment.
That's really my thoughts on the matter.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, what are you learning? Okay.
I'm learning that Nat Lensink in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, contributed $1,000.
Oh.
Yeah. He says, I'll apologize off the bat to my total and complete douchebag status over the last 14 years.
Wow.
I've religiously
what happened?
attended your twice weekly service in the beginning without as much as an interesting link. Well, that ends today. Then he has a YouTube link. Yanis the Greek may be a bit odd and lefty, but he has some good monetary history and nice digs at our Euro effectiveness in dealing with financial equality while pretending to take the moral high ground at 9:30 and the clip. Also, please find my tithe, which is $1,000, which is better than the clip, which I fear is nowhere near the value I've received from you, what you two have delivered over the many, many years. I wish to be known as Sir Rando McGlitch and request Momofuku Pork Belly Bow and Caffrey's Irish Ale at the round table. This actually would go good together, those two. Thank you.
Oh, very nice, Sir Rando. Look forward to having you up on the podium later on. I will check out that video. Dame Kim, keeper of the Nutty Fluffers, is in Hubbard, Oregon. Sends us 800-85. You guys are the highlight of my day, 2 times a week. I wish I was writing to just donate, but I need the Duke of Luna, lover of America, and boobs to keep me in his thoughts, along with the whole Gitmo Nation, as I need an F-cancer karma. One of my sweater puppies has turned against me, and I'm beginning the journey of boob cancer. Hope this is short enough, John. See, how do you feel now? The cancer sufferer is mad at you. Oh, is like, damn. You should feel horrible about yourself. Thank you with all my heart, Dame Kim, keeper of the Nutty Fluffers. Well, this is a horrible message, Dame Kim. We can't have that. It is a horrible message. Yeah, we're going to throw him some goat, too.
You've got...
We shot that
karma.
We shot that cancer.
Louisville local 800-835-34567, which is a great number. Do not credit me personally. Please see email with subject donation for Louisville local 8008 for corresponding recognition and reconnaissance.
I don't have anything. I don't know what to look for. Nothing came in that I saw.
No. All the donation ones are moved over to Eric. You would have put it in there. I don't know what happened. I'll look around. Maybe I can find something. Onward with Jess Mahan. I'll do it.
Yep.
Valley Village, California, 33400. Oh, nothing there. And there's no note. Well, that's okay. We'll do a make good if you get us something later.
Okay.
I'll go look for these while you continue.
Yes, I have, and I got to grab this. Here it is. I got that one. The next one is queued up. It's Sir Anthony Seven is back again, Viscount of Hamilton, with our favorite 33333. It's the executive producer donation. Everybody should make at least once in their life. Sir Anthony Seven is going for 7. Greetings to you, gentlemen, from Hamilton County, Indiana. This is the fourth of 6. The fourth of my 6 promised December contributions. We love you for this, man. Thank you so much. Show 1408 is notable for sharing its title with a Stephen King story about a creepy hotel room. Oh, I'm told the film version from 2007 is good as such things go, but I'm not a fan of the genre. I'd much rather listen to yous guys debunk the M5M than watch John Cusack fall to debunk a haunted hotel. I'd like to hear John's creepy donate. Until Sunday, blessings from the Viscount of Hamilton, and right back at you, sir.
Donate! Donate! Donate!
I think that thing really works.
Well, keep going.
I think it pierces people. Sarah Hamrow is in Seattle. Again, 3:33 in the morning. This donation is in honor of my father-in-law's 100th, listen to this, 100th birthday. Born 12/15/1921, he is one of an estimated 75,000 centenarians living in the U.S. today. Happy birthday, Desimone. Health karma and a Kamala. Of course, everybody needs a Kamala biscuit for your birthday. You got it. Congratulations.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday. You've got karma.
Is that how I pronounce it, Desimone? Would that be correct?
Desmond?
No, it's Desimone. Desimone, I guess.
I don't know.
I wish I had a pronunciation guide.
But I will say this, that curiously, Jess Mahan has donated in the past and sent a little note in, but she didn't send a note in for this one. She was... so I don't know. So there's nothing from her. Maybe there will be. Okay, where are we?
Anonymous from Bergen op Zoom, 33333. Really appreciate your work on the No Agenda Show. Please don't mention my name in the show. Done. And thank you for your support.
And then we continue with Kevin Silverman, 333. ITM, this is a birthday donation as my gift to you. My birth anniversary was on Tuesday the 14th. No jingles, but I'll take some karma to sell my townhouse near Fort Meade, Maryland. Well, good, you survived. Sir Silver Dude of the Silver Dolphins and Baron of the Baltimore Metal Bands.
You've got karma.
And I will...
I'll
ahead. Do this one because you got the long one coming. And I can't.
Hey, thanks, man.
It blows out my spreadsheet.
Thanks, man. Sure.
So this is Sir Cal 24772. And he says, COVID infection rates seem to be going up. Is it possible some vaccines actually spread the virus?
I've heard.
That
Exosomes.
Exosomes. I mean, Pfizer took over some Baxter deals. Remember the bird flu?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baxter was, that was loaded with bird flu. Happy holidays. Please broadcast the ITM coupon code. I shouldn't be reading this.
Not really.
For those who visit us, this is Cal at lavenderblossoms.com, and you can use ITM as a coupon code.
Yeah, lavenderblossoms.org.
Cold.
Lavenderblossoms.org.
Yeah.
This is to be read by Adam, say Greg and Ashley Speed of Mansfield, Texas, 232, Associate Executive Producership. It says you might want to make this the last read as it can go right into the Dvorak.org jingle. Well, that's not how it works.
No.
This is notice about my daughter, Ashlyn. She has been racing high-speed go-karts since she was a child. She recently turned 15 and has developed into a stunningly beautiful, well-spoken, and intelligent young lady. She wins races a lot and makes the boys cry. She just won That's funny. She just won the 2021 North Texas Carters Championship in the 100cc junior class. We listened to the show while traveling to races. Well, how about this? This is cool. Early on, she asked, "Dad, how can you listen to this show?" Thinking she had a problem with the message, I sought clarity. "What do you ask?" To which she replied, "The mics are too clear." What? Too clear? Last summer, she earned her SCCA car racing license at the age of 14, completed her first special Miata race, spec Miata race. 2022 has some unbelievable opportunities before her in cars. Things are about to get crazy. She comes by her love of speed naturally. I was a wheelchair track sprinter in my day, ultimately competing for Team USA at the 1992 Barcelona Paralympics. Now the kicker. Our last name is Speed. The amount 232 comes from 2, the two of you are awesome, and 32, my number when I played wheelchair basketball, which Ashlyn stole from me as her racing number. We are, of course, seeking out businesses and fans to partner with us to fund this crazy sport. We don't want sponsors we don't believe in, and I figured the No Agenda crowd would be full of like-minded people they would be proud to promote. I think some Nolachuk meats. I think we should have the meat cart. You can find Ashlyn Speed on the big socials, Facebag, Instapot, Twitter, and You Screwed at Ashlyn Speed. That's ASHLYN Speed, or Ashlyn Speed Racing. Note the spelling with LYN. Please give her a follow. Message me through one of those channels or email sponsor@ashlynspeed.com. I will send you our sponsor deck. If anyone would like to contribute directly, they may do so at paypal.me/AshlynSpeed. Adam will be racing at COTA, Circuit of the Americas, the first weekend of February. Love to have you and the keeper come hang out in the pits. You got it. That will be fun.
You know, they could have Nolachek. If she was sponsored by Nolachek Meats, she could hot dog it around the track.
There it is. I would like a little best podcast in the universe branding. I think we should get a little decal somewhere.
A sticker. Or she could change her number to 33, and then you're talking.
I'd like to have a decal, where the sponsor decals are typically on her racing uniform. That's just where you want. Just an ITM. Doesn't have to be anything else. Just one of those patches. One of those little patches. A little ITM. Just as a nod so people know.
We have patch people in the audience.
People know how cool she is. Hey, that's great. Congratulations. We look forward to that. And we will follow her. That's how Max Verstappen, current world champion, he started in karts. I think maybe only 6 or 7 years ago. And now he's Formula One world champion. To which, by the way, I got a very angry note from Grand Duke David Foley. He's a big Formula One fan. And, we opened the show with like, hey, man, congratulations, Max wins. I guess he was driving back from somewhere and did one of those avoid media at all costs because he wanted to watch the game recorded at home, flips on the live stream and right away he ruins it for him. Oops.
Oh, please. I have a Schumacher signed hat.
Wow. That's worth some money.
I think I'm going to sell it. Yeah.
No. Do you need money?
I always need money. There's bills to be paid. Mouths to feed.
Too many mouths to feed. All right.
Hannah Nicholas is next on the list. Mm-hmm. She's in Oklahoma City, and she's got a bunch of deck of twos, whatever that's called. 222.22.
It's a row of ducks.
OKC. Season's greetings, y'all, and please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
A close friend hit me in the mouth a few months before Adam's first appearance on JRE. Well, what's the point of mentioning that? And I haven't missed an episode of No Agenda since. I'm a young female millennial that kicked the M5M and all social media years ago. It has been, this is a millennial's note.
Yes.
But this is interesting because of what she's saying here. It has been incredibly refreshing to find No Agenda in these strange times. I recently hit my dad a few times in the mouth by using a Podcast 2 app to clip and share your deconstructions and end of show mixes.
Nice.
I've been meaning to donate for a while, and I knew I had to when I heard how perplexed John was by saying a one wheel. Yes, it's literally called a one wheel. This is the thing that was shooting down the street. They're fun and easy to get the hang of. John, the engineering is quite interesting, and I think you would enjoy looking at the details on their website. The smallest model can go up to 16 miles an hour, and the largest can hit up to 20, but the actual top speed varies with trail conditions. You're going to use one of these things on a trail? Adam said you never see the same person riding one twice. Well, I'm sure people have seen me cruising around more than once and eat shit a few times. In other words, she fell on her butt.
Yeah.
Fun, but can be sketchy. Anyway, thank you both for your courage and all that you do. Jingles below, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. Trump aroused, whole load, Fauci wheeze, and the Howard Dean scream.
So I love our millennial producers. particularly when, look at all the stuff she put in here, right down to the one wheel, which, by the way, another producer of mine confirmed that he has a one wheel that can do 40 miles an hour, to which I said, how far do you have to go when you want to stop, emergency stop? He says, yeah, I've never really had to do it. I don't know, but good point, he said. Good point. Yeah, you don't want to find out. But now there's something else I want to bring to light, because we have not just an influx of women listening to the show, but millennial women. And a special highlight here, just for a moment, people who don't listen to the donation segment are going to miss out. Millennial Mel sent us an end of show mix. I just want to play a little bit of it so people can be excited for the end of show. This is, I think, John, you and I, we've been around music and musicians and singers long enough to know this is professional. She is a pro. Who knew?
Oh, Fauci, won't you get a little closer, my dear? Jab me, baby, slip a needle into my arm, no harm. I'm an awful good slave, Fauci, baby. Hurry up and jab me tonight.
I mean, that's top notch, man. She produced that in like a day. Threw it back at us.
She's good. Now, is this the same millennial that was floating around the world?
Yes, it's the very same one, Millennial Mel.
And she's stuck in Oregon or something. I don't know where she is.
Yeah, her boyfriend dumped her. Millennial Mel Hart. It's okay, I can mention her last name. And by the way, classically schooled at Berkeley School of Music.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Played in orchestras.
That's where she went around the world. That's interesting.
Yeah, she's played in orchestras, all kinds of stuff. She's really talented.
All right. Well, that's our listener base. What can I say? There's the producers that we have.
It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
You've got karma.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, that's our millennials right there, baby. Arouse, whole load.
And a scream.
And a scream or two. Nice.
Chisholm Cook in Bulverde, Texas, 21408. In the morning, gents, my first EP note was egregiously long-winded, which was made clear by JCD's understandably exasperated, somewhat disdainful read of it, so I'll keep this one short. With this donation, I surpassed the threshold for night at the No Agenda Roundtable. I'll send my accounting to JCD's email address. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
We got you. You're good. You're good to go.
Way to go, man.
Please pronunciate me Sir Chummy of the Texas Hill Country.
Okay.
I humbly request medium rare fire-roasted elk tenderloin, Brussels sprouts sautéed in bacon grease. You know, that's like that's a very trendy thing that if it's done perfectly,
with
it's
bacon
very
grease,
good.
Bacon grease is the thing that's trendy.
Well, no, the Brussels sprouts specifically sautéed. You cut them in half and you saute, flip them, and they get kind of crunchy, and the bacon grease gets in there. And it tastes pretty good.
I've had those. I've had those. I've had this here in Hill Country.
It's a popular dish everywhere. You have it more than 3 times in your life, you've had it too much. Mashed sweet potatoes, he goes on, and probably yams, but mashed sweet potatoes and top shelf ranch water for the round table. As always, thank you both for all you do and keep up the phenomenal work. Production note, John, it's pronounced Bulverde.
No, Bulverde.
Okay, Bulverde.
Yep.
What did I say?
Bulverde.
I say Bulverde.
Bulverde's Bulverde.
I say Bulverde. Bulverde. And Adam, it's Chisholm, not Jism.
That's what she said.
Though, to be fair, that's a common mistake, quote unquote, folks have made here since the 7th grade.
Oh, yeah. 15 forever, baby. I can't help it.
So he wants jingles. Biden whole load again. No. And Biden, come on, man. Much love. Chisholm Cook of Sir Chummy of the Texas Hill Country, Bulverde, Texas.
I'm going to give you the whole load today.
No.
Come on, man.
That's actually very creepy. See, that's a good little story. No.
Yeah, I liked it.
Come on, man. Wow, I like that. Thank you, Chisholm. I don't think I've ever said Chisholm. I just don't believe it.
That's what you said every time.
Yeah. Luke Whitmore is somewhere in the U.S., 2/11/16. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife and fantastic mother, to our crazy human resource. All show credits go to Gina. Okay, that is a switcheroo. We love Labradors. Check out redbrushlabs.com. We don't know what we have, but it identifies as a Labrador. That's for sure. That's all I can say.
That's funny because most dogs identify as humans.
Right? Jingles. Boogity, get the vaccine. It's not get the vaccine. It's get vaccinated. Yes, get vaccinated. Little kid, no. It's just, man, people, I have to decipher all your stuff.
Get vaccinated.
No.
Lovely.
Michael Mutual Win Bernstein, 20401 is our last associate executive producer. He says, this is not a donation. This one baffled me when it came in as a note. This is not a donation. I was trying to decide between prepaying for some copies of John's Vinegar book or hiring the Curry Dvorak consultancy agency since my luxury tiny home company, Mutual Win, has reached a point where multiple banks want to loan me money. I need some guidance on how to politely say no to some of the more unscrupulous bankers. Who better to ask for guidance than John, who has an uncanny ability to tactfully insult people? Examples include the first time John met Adam, John calling his female friend a street walker from the way she dressed. I never did this. Berating telesales callers, etc., etc. I do that, that's for sure. I had a good one the other day. Any additional stories demonstrating this skill would be greatly appreciated. Another note, I'm in the process of starting an NFT company focusing on architecture, looking to build a team, calling all Gitmo Nations people named Ben or anyone else who wants to make money. Please contribute. Follow me on Instagram at Mutual Win, all one word, Tiny Homes. Like there's a space there. Jingles, Goat Scream, CPC3CPO Karma. Thank you for all you do. Michael Mutual Win Bernstein.
I don't think we've ever had 3CPO. We've only had R2D2.
I think that's what he meant.
Okay. Good. I can play that then.
You've got karma.
And a goat. And that's it. Long notes, but fun ones. I like that. I like when there's stuff to be discussed and people send us information. Stuff we can use.
Yeah, it was good. And I want to thank all these folks for producing the show as executive producers and associate executive producers for show, what is it, 1408?
1408, yep. And these are credits that are 100% bona fide, authentic, as part of your value for value remuneration package in return for your giving us some primo treasure. We give you these credits, and these credits can be used anywhere. Your CV. Hey, maybe you can get on the next Alec Baldwin movie. I mean, you just put it on IMDb. Too soon. And if you'd like to become an executive producer or associate executive producer for the next episode of the No Agenda Show, you can go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
Thank you again for contributing your value for the value of time, talent, and treasure.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Actually, before we continue, there was a humble request for some travel R2D2 karma from Sir A.J. Reistadt, our Viscount of Idaho. I guess I should do that. Do we also have some make goods that we had to do? Was there
you should read those in the second
Hold on a
segment.
second. Let me just do this. Yeah, okay, that's good.
You've got
Good.
karma.
Done. All right. Obligations fulfilled.
So far.
Yes, so far.
All right, so
yeah,
there's a couple of interesting things that are kind of come and gone. I got these two clips called the Presidential Powers Act farce.
Okay.
You want to play these and see what they are?
You brought your homework, but you don't remember what class it was for?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it.
Let me turn you to the Protecting Our Democracy Act. You are a co-sponsor. House is expected to vote on it this week. The act tackles, among other things, abuses of presidential power. Why do you believe it's important to get this legislation passed and passed now?
This package of reforms is the product of now probably about a year and a half of work that began with a conversation I had with the Speaker about the need for our own post-Watergate reforms, the need to build back what had been, we thought, inviolate norms of behavior in office, which Donald Trump demonstrated were not inviolate at all, could be violated with impunity. And so we are trying to codify protections of our democratic institutions, codify protections for the Justice Department so its independence is not intruded upon. One of the most important provisions is along the lines that we've been discussing, which would expedite enforcement of congressional subpoenas. Yeah. We try to curb the abuse of the pardon power and provide an enforcement mechanism for the emoluments clause, stiffen penalties for violating the Hatch Act. This is our effort as the Congress responded to the abuses of Richard Nixon to protect the country from any future president who would abuse the power of his office in that way.
Now, the powers of the president, what is that? Vetoing legislation? Is that what they're talking about?
No, they're talking about, well, who is that? Can you guess who it was talking?
No.
Oh, that was Adam Schiff.
God, he must have a little bit of the coof.
I don't know.
Didn't hear it.
Shapeshifter, so.
Yeah, okay.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But this is just this grandstanding with continued anti-Trump things because they're scared to death he's going to run again.
He's going to.
I personally don't think he. I think he will as a bluff, but I don't think he's really going to run again. After 4 years of being out of office, he'll realize how much better his life is.
I don't know. He's pretty persistent.
Yeah, it's possible. I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking that he's, not going to run again and do the right thing and let DeSantis become president.
DeSantis.
Yeah, I know. I can't stop saying DeSantos. Sorry. But this is just grandstanding to get people to, hey, look at this. This guy's it was lousy. Let's don't let him run again. That's all it is.
I see. Okay. Yeah. They just anything to not have him enter the fray. Really?
So let's just put together some bogus crap about this and that with all this nonsense, which they violate constantly. But let's listen to part 2 of this clip.
You just referenced Watergate, and I was struck by a comment that one of your co-sponsors made. This is your fellow California Democrat, Zoe Lofgren, who said the landmark laws put into place after the Watergate scandal in large part worked well until a sitting president showed little regard for the safeguards designed to protect our democracy and the rule of law, end quote. Which I suppose prompts the question, what gives you confidence your bill or any bill might rein in the next sitting president? If they can ignore one set of laws, why not this one?
Well, this has, I think, more powerful enforcement mechanisms. But you are exactly right on one fundamental point, and that is these laws and our entire Constitution don't work if the power, the people charged with living up to the provisions of those laws and constitutions don't inform their judgments by ideas of right and wrong, if members of Congress don't take their oath of office seriously.
You have a bunch of co-sponsors on this act. Not a single Republican. Did you try to get a Republican co-sponsor?
Yes, and it's still my hope that we may get Republican votes when we take this up tomorrow.
Wait, where's Cheney? Cheney would sign on with that, wouldn't she?
I would think so.
Liz
well,
Cheney.
The problem is she might not even sign up with it because she thinks back on her father. So I don't know if this would be a good thing. But I wonder when he's talking about this abuse of power, if that includes just the droning an American citizen in a foreign land because you don't like him, and then droning his son because you can't take a chance. Why take a chance?
Right.
Would that be abuse of power, you think? Is murdering people?
Well, they got plans. Did you see the latest Peter Thiel-backed company that wants to sell the wall of drones to Border Patrol?
No, I haven't seen this.
I got a little sound clip. It's cool. So you're going to see, you hear it, and what you're seeing this drone coming out of its special resting place, and there's, some obviously illegal immigrant walking across the plains of Texas, and the drone zooms in.
It's called the Wall of Drones. Each drone in the wall starts its day in a base station, where it's recharged using solar power. Then, the drone automatically takes off and goes on patrol towards the next base station in the line. It follows a pre-programmed flight path and uses its high-definition camera and thermal imager to look for intruders. When the drone detects an intruder, control of the drone is shifted to a human operator at a nearby border control office. Then, the controller pilots the aircraft down and interrogates the suspicious person.
This is U.S. Border Patrol. Identify yourself.
My name's Jose.
What are you doing out here?
Take the walk.
Do you have any identification on here?
That's identification.
So, and here's what happens next.
Stop moving and drop the gun or you will be tased. Taser.
So this Border Patrol drone deploys a taser. I think we should have this on the streets of America. Yeah, that's just what you should hear. Taser, taser. Are we living in a sci-fi movie by any chance?
This sounds... Okay, first of all, what if you're one of those guys where you're wearing thick clothing and the taser hits, because you might be wearing a wool thing and you just insulate.
What are you, in procurement for the Pentagon? Come on, we don't ask those questions around here.
It hits the thing, you grab it's going to be... It's a taser hooked to wires, and you just pull the wires and drag the drone to the ground and stomp it out. Stomp the drone out.
Sure. I love it.
This is unbelievable.
That's great.
That's that would almost be clip of the day if it wasn't for your first clip, which was superior. Well, that was.
I
was digging around the archives, and I found a clip from which I don't think we've ever played.
Oh.
Because it's a long, unedited clip, and you collected a lot of unedited clips and just stored them for posterity's sake. And this came from show 301.
Oh, wow.
And this, far out.
oh, wow, man. Hey, groovy, baby. Right on, man. Show 301.
This came from show 301.
Yeah.
And it's from 2011. It's 10 years ago when Assange, I guess, was free and able to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his analysis of Facebook. And I just thought it would be worth revisiting this little clip. This is very good.
In social networking,
vintage.
what role do you think sites like...
Vintage, huh? Were you in the D.C. area recently?
In social networking, what role do you think sites like Facebook and Twitter have played in the revolutions in the Middle East? How easy would you say it is to manipulate media like that?
Facebook in particular is the most appalling spying machine that has ever been invented. Here we have the world's most comprehensive database about people, their relationships, their names, their addresses, their locations, their communications with each other, their relatives, all sitting within the United States, all accessible to US intelligence. Facebook, Google, Yahoo, all these major US organizations have built-in interfaces for US intelligence. It's not a matter of serving a subpoena. They have an interface that they have developed for US intelligence to use. Now, is it the case that Facebook is actually run by US intelligence? No, it's not like that. It's simply that US intelligence is able to bring to bear legal and political pressure to them, and it's costly for them to hand out records and one by one, so they have automated the process. Everyone should understand that when they add their friends to Facebook, they are doing free work for United States intelligence agencies in building this database for them.
Let's talk about...
Wow. Poor fuck.
That guy.
So mean. And there's just nothing you can do. I don't know if anyone can do anything. I mean,
the president of the United States could. Trump could have.
Trump totally could have. I think he was holding Assange back as some chip for something that he wanted to do, but it didn't get to it. And they're screw. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pathetic. And the fact that everybody puts up with it. And what's really super pathetic, and I'm kind of corny to say that, but what's really bothersome is the mainstream media, who should know better, who should know that they could be next, are not up in arms about this. They get to make a big fuss about somebody in Cambodia that's locked up, or they make a big fuss about
Saudi guy
in Africa
some Saudi guy who got chopped up. Come on.
Yeah, and a Saudi guy got chopped up.
Khashoggi. They were on that for months, a year even. A year. Oh, Khashoggi got chopped up.
You hear nothing about WikiLeaks and Assange in particular, when in fact he's done more to crack news stories than any of them.
Did you see the new?
And you think that they'd be using his resources and encouraging or even saying anything about it? There's no reporting on it. Nobody cares. They're not working for us. They're working for the CIA or the NSA or who knows who. They could be working for the Chinese spy agencies, these reporters that we have on our mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not working for the news, the First Amendment.
That said, the Chinese government, the headline is Chinese government deploying online influencers amid Beijing Olympic boycotts. The reason we know is the agency that manages these influencers, which is Vippy Media, based in New Jersey, they had to register under FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act, because they got these shills out there on Instagram and TikTok working for the Chinese.
Who was this?
It's a number of influencers. I don't know which one, but it's
what's the name of the company in Jersey?
Vippy Media, VIPPI, Vippy Media. Yeah, sounds like a shell company. Doesn't sound like something's going to be around a while. But I do like that.
No, they'll be glad to sell out the American public. But again, Julian Assange, nobody wants to talk about him being locked up and already had a stroke, I guess, from getting vaxxed or whatever.
I know. Sucks.
Yeah.
Well, on that tip, noagendaphone.com has Pixel 6 instructions coming soon to load it with a non-Google, less trackable device, I think would be appropriate because the telecommunications companies still have shit that we don't know about. Also, a new way to use the Google camera thing on the Pixel, which is, you have to do a certain hack, otherwise Google can still track your camera. So that's at noagendaphone.com. And I think we can bring this back.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
That's right, everybody, because I have one of the actors. One of the original Climate Gate actors, Michael Mann, is back on the scene. Do we remember Michael Mann? Wasn't he not intimately involved in the actual Climate Gate changing, fudging of numbers, etc.?
I've long since forgotten.
I'm pretty sure he was. He was interviewed on, of all places, Democracy Now! I don't think there's any. Oh, there actually is one Amy. I should have done the trigger alert. But it's a four-parter, and it's good because he is making the transition, the one we've been waiting for. So this adds to your theory that it's ending. We have to transition from COVID to climate change.
So I want to go to why people believe what they do. And this is something you've been talking about. Earlier this month, you tweeted, quote, "Hey, YouTube, it's good you're taking down COVID denial videos. Now it's time for you to remove climate denial videos. They pose an even greater threat to humanity in the long term." Explain.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, climate change, here we saw nearly 100.
Well, it's a setup because he has an answer.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, climate change, here we saw nearly 100 people die from these unprecedented tornadoes. But if you look at the total impact of climate change around the world, wildfires, droughts, floods, heat waves, coastal inundation, climate change is already costing far more lives than COVID-19. It is deadlier. And so the denial of climate change is deadlier even than the denial of the basic science behind COVID-19. But here's the difference.
So here's a scientist openly calling for Silicon Valley and big tech to censor people. That's really good, man. That's the scientific method. Hey, we got a problem. Tell them to shut up. Deplatform them. Yes, that's science. And he's going to take it even further.
But here's the difference. There isn't a huge global lobby, the world's most powerful industry, wealthiest and most powerful industry, the fossil fuel industry, that has a stake in the COVID-19 debate. So it's...
I'm sorry, does pharma not have a stake in the COVID-19 debate, or am I misunderstanding what he's saying?
In the COVID-19 debate. So it's fairly easy for these big tech companies, these social media companies, to stop, showing COVID denial, for suppressing COVID denial videos and posts. There isn't a huge corporate interest that's going to get in their way.
Ah, you see, he's figured it out. Why?
And here, the social media companies are being complicit. And, why are they being complicit? Well, many of them are getting a lot of advertising money from the fossil fuel industry. So it's inconvenient to their business model to challenge that industry. Yeah. And I'm afraid that that's what we're seeing here. And we have to take them to task because they are doing great harm. They're making profits by doing great harm to all of us.
Have you ever seen one lone ad for Shell or Chevron on YouTube?
Yes, but it's not what you think it is. It's all the green power from Shell. It's all of that. All of that. Yes, it's all over the place. BP green. You bet. It's not them saying, hey, let's burn some more shit in the air. No, it's like, we're green. Come check us out. We're cool. We're BP, your future, your friend, green. So he's not wrong about that, but, the real advertising is coming from pharma. But okay, he has a solution.
What would be the most effective way to deal with this now?
It would be for Joe Manchin to join with the other Democrats and pass by a simple majority vote the Build Back Better plan with the major climate provisions intact.
For a better life beyond your freedom, build back better. For someone else.
I have a side clip because you did a throwback there. I got a throwback. Somebody sent me a link to this, and this is one because we talked about this 10 years ago plus. It was that moments where there's on the air stand-ups out there in the real world, these women mostly would lose their train of thought and they start mumbling.
Oh yes, yeah. It was and someone even told me what that was called. It was like they were getting, their brains were scrambled. They were getting scrambled and they would talk gibberish, and we were pretty sure it was a directed energy weapon.
But we weren't pretty sure.
I was pretty damn sure it was direct.
Okay, so here's Serene Branson. This is one of the clips. This was one of the classics.
This is the best one.
From the era. This is just great. You have to listen carefully.
I think this kicked it off. So she's doing a stand-up outside a venue, I believe, if I recall correctly.
I think Staples Center.
Right. And all of a sudden, they just flipped the switch.
Nations. CBS 2's Serene Branson is live at the Staples Center with highlights and backstage coverage we're seeing for the very first time. Serene.
Well, a very, very heavy debatation tonight. We had a very Darrison bite. Let's go to Terrace and look for the bit. They have the pit.
I can't get enough of this. Whatever happened to her? Is she okay? Hold on.
I don't know, but the only word she could get was very, very, very.
Let's just listen to that again.
Everything else was just double talk.
We just need to listen to that again.
Nations.
Well, a very, very heavy debatation tonight. We had a very Darrison bite. Let's go to Terrace and look for the bit. They have the pit.
We need more of that. Now, what they did is they went to making people throw up and stuff, like with the cricket sound in the embassies. That's not fun, Russia, China, Israel, whoever's doing it. Get back to this. Nuke the people on the air. That's what we'd be. There's so much fun we can have, but no. What does everyone do who's evil? They go after energy companies, pipelines. You never go after the mainstream media. DEW them. Bzz, bzz. That's a good one. I like that. I'm glad we could hear that again.
It's just so funny. But her cadence never changed. It was just like a real report.
Yeah.
So she says, Mummy, and back to you, Bill. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Since we're doing a little entertainment-y stuff, Francis Collins, Fauci's boss, resigned or is retiring. He's, I think Fauci's 80. He's been with NIH for the past 12 years. He is an insane, narcissistic creep. And I suspect there's a lot of creepiness that we don't know about him. But this guy is so, and it speaks for all, like you said at the very beginning of the show, the health department people are nut jobs, complete nut jobs. Did you not say that? They're nut jobs?
Yes, having been and worked with them. When I was an air pollution inspector, I'll reiterate, I worked with a lot of health department people because it was natural, and they were all insane.
Right. So the fish rots at the head. This is his goodbye town hall, and Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, is dialed in. Everyone's talking, and he's about to say goodbye. He's about to thank everybody for tuning in to his goodbye farewell speech.
Now, if you'll indulge me, because it's been kind of promoted as if it might be a grand finale of a musical sort, I guess I'd like to play us out with a little song. So, if I might, I just need a microphone. Why, there's a guitar right here. How about that?
This guy, he's channeling Mr. Rogers. Why, there's a guitar. How about that?
This is a song where the tune will be familiar to you, unless you came from another planet recently. But the words are going to be quite different, because this is really a song for you, a song for all of us who've been going through this pandemic and trying to imagine, how's it going to feel when we're finally past that? What will that be like? We're going to get there, and you're going to help us get there. So that's what this is about. Somewhere past the pandemic, when we're free, there's a life I remember, full of activity.
Do you want to hear more?
No, I've actually heard this a couple of times. I'm glad you could find a way to get it into the show, because I couldn't figure it out.
No.
But I will say this. People should go on YouTube and see the other one he does when he's at home.
Yeah, that's the Puff Corona Magic Dragon or some shit like that with his wife.
And his wife is in the picture, and she's creeping everybody out by running back and forth in front of him.
Like a dinosaur monster.
She's and then she's behind him, and it's so cringy. But it's a visual. You have to, especially because of her, this wife. I don't know what she thinks she's up to, but she had to be part of the act.
It's just how in the world, people? How in the world can you? I mean, who does he think he is? That's real. That's my question. Who do you think you are? You can use government time for this. Ugh.
And then he sings off key to make it even worse.
Oh, but he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. Meanwhile, while that's all going on, there's actual news taking place, which I don't think I heard much reporting on. Al Jazeera did.
A virtual summit and show of solidarity. The presidents of China and Russia, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, spoke for more than an hour on Wednesday, hailing their close ties.
The world has undergone unprecedented changes and a pandemic in the last century. Sino-Russian relations have withstood the test of various storms.
Deep historical traditions of friendship and mutual understanding have allowed us to take our relations to the next breakthrough level.
Trade between China and Russia exceeded $115 billion this year, a new high. The leaders pledged to increase cooperation on energy. Beijing already relies on Moscow for much of its minerals, oil, and natural gas. Plans are underway for nuclear power stations. They're also coordinating on efforts to further space exploration and scientific innovation. Chinese analysts say the relationship is now stronger than it's ever been.
I see this. I view this as pretty bad. You know, we got China threatening Taiwan. We have Russia, I think, defending their position because, you know, Ukraine is a transit country for their gas, so they can't have the U.S. putting military crap in there. But they're surrounding Ukraine. You know, Biden is, and not even Biden, I'm sorry. What's his name? Sullivan. Jake Sullivan. No, who's our Secretary of State? Blinken. These jamokes, they're doing, and they've got Vicky Nuland in there, the big Russia hater. I hope they shave her head. It's never
going to happen.
But this could be, and I think this is a move to say, hey, America, screw you. We're big now, and look, we're doing stuff together and doing a teleconference.
This was the reason that Nixon first opened up relations with China. Of course, the whole thing backfired the way I see it, but it was to keep Russia and China from teaming up because that's the one thing you don't want.
Right.
And that should have been in the back of the mind of the Secretary of the State, the Secretary of Defense, the President of the United States. Every one of them should have always been in the back of their minds, we don't want China and Russia teaming up, that no good will come of it. Yeah. But no, Biden and Blinken, those two idiots, they let it happen. But Trump pretty much had the two at bay. But then, of course, the Democrat Party here was always blaming Russia for everything, which was driving him into the hands of China. So this is a Democratic Party plot from the get-go, the way I see it. And I don't think they've ever liked the fact that Nixon and not one of their people, because they were the lefties, got China to open up at all. You can just see this coming. This is not going to be pleasant.
I think there could be war. I mean, we already have proxy war with China in Ethiopia.
It's always going to. Yeah, well, that's the other thing. The Democrats love these proxy wars.
Yep,
so
Horn of Africa,
one of them somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Horn of Africa, Ethiopia. Yeah.
There'd be a lot. There's all kinds of opportunities.
They got to hurry up because they don't have much more time. They certainly have to. I mean, it would be great if we had the blackout, the financial system crashes, China and Russia start attacking us economically. We have proxy wars, and then boom, you wake up from the dust and Hillary Clinton's your president. This is their plan. I guarantee you. That's their plan. Did you see the new
Perino is pushing that idea?
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Dana Perino is pushing it. That's interesting for her to push it.
And she was pushing it on the Tucker Carlson show.
Huh. Oh, no, I saw her do that because I remember her hair looks shit.
Yeah,
something wrong with her hair,
though, I think.
No, she looks great, but her hair was no good last night.
I got a slightly humorous clip here that might be interesting because I want you to identify. This is like an Ask Adam, but not quite. This is on Fed bond buying, and there's a word in here. I want you to see if you can pull it out of the hat. This is a 17-second clip from NPR.
Federal Reserve policymakers, after concluding their two-day meeting in Washington, are signaling the central bank will stop its pandemic-era bond buying by March. The Fed, along with announcing it will roughly double the pace of its bond buying pullback, also signaling at least 3 possible interest rate hikes by the end of next year.
Sting-ling-ling? What did he say? Sting-a-ling-a-ling?
Well, here's the sub-clip that has it.
Let's listen.
Also signaling at least...
Sting-a-ling.
Also stingling.
What he meant to say was singling, but he said stingling, and he never corrected himself.
Also stingling at least.
Oh, let me just. Really? Is that what it is here?
By March, the Fed, along with announcing it will roughly double the pace of its bond buying pullback, also signaling at least 3 possible interest rate hikes.
Oh, signaling. Signaling is the term.
Sorry.
That's not singling. Signaling 3.
This is one of. I can't let these things slide, so I have to.
Well, also, if whatever happened, I don't know why he stuttered.
The Fed, along with...
Something happened, something happened, he got thrown off.
The Fed, along with announcing it will roughly double the pace of its bond buying pullback, also signaling at least...
Hey, do you think they're really going to raise the interest rate 3 times next year?
I think they'll probably raise it 4 times.
Oh, okay.
It'll probably happen, Marcia, in February. The first one will be a test to see how everybody reacts and how long
they'll do that on a Friday. Do it on a Friday, bank holiday.
And they'll see what happens, and then they will...
But they'll do 25 basis points, just a little thing, just a blip, just to see if people freak out. Don't you think? They won't do it.
Well, if they... a lot of people think there's going to be at least twice that, 50.
Whoa.
Yeah, 50. or more.
They can't do more.
Depends on what happens if they don't get anything straightened out here, because this inflation thing is really going to be a problem for the Democrats in the next election.
Yeah. Okay. Then.
I have an update on Afghanistan, if you want to play that.
Always interested in what's happening in Afghan?
How's this for a litany of challenges? In Afghanistan, the economy is in free fall. Many people face mass starvation, and a potentially brutal winter awaits them. Meanwhile, talks between the U.S. and the Taliban in Doha, Qatar are at a standstill, and one of the main sticking points, the nearly $10 billion of Afghan reserves currently held by the United States. NPR's Fatma Tanis was just in Doha, where she sat down with a spokesperson for the Taliban. She joins us now from Islamabad in Pakistan. Hey, Fatma.
Hi, Mary-Louise.
So before we get to the substance of your interview, may I ask you just take us inside this meeting with a Taliban official? Who was he and where did y'all meet?
Sure. So his name is Naeem Wardak. He is the spokesperson for the Taliban political office. And we met at a hotel in Doha. He was very courteous. We made small talk about the weather and traffic. We sat around a large conference table for the interview. My colleague Hannah Block was also there, and both she and I did not cover our hair for the interview.
So brave.
We spoke with Wardak for over 40 minutes. The interview was entirely in Arabic. He answered all of our questions in detail. And while he mostly looked down as he was speaking, he did also make the occasional eye contact.
Oh, so what they did is they had women interview him to be provocative and say, hey, we're from the West, brother. You know, you have to accept women doing stuff. Is that what this was about? Journalists? Exactly really? Journalists? Shitty
Your analysis of this is exactly the same as mine.
Okay, I can picture it. I feel like I'm there with you.
Yes,
you will
as a
have
woman,
asked him
I do.
about these talks with the U.S. What was his view of how they are going, not going? What was his take?
You know, it was interesting. He had very positive things to say about the talks. He said the atmosphere was really good. And here, the Taliban mainly want two things. As Wardak reiterated several times in the interview, they want those $10 billion released. The U.S. says it's holding them as leverage for the Taliban to build inclusive government and protect the rights of minorities and women. Wardak described this as an economic siege.
Oh, so annoying trying to make a point. Half the report is about, oh, yes, and we were sitting at a table and we didn't have our hair covered and he didn't look at us, he looked down.
The whole thing is a very screwy situation, and it's like not reported
But
on.
they're making that more important than the actual story, which is people going into a winter situation and starving.
Starving to death.
Yeah, but no, let's spend more time on how brave I am.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. Is that part two?
No, part two is next.
And the Taliban also want to be recognized by the international community as the government of Afghanistan. Now, they insist that they've done everything the West wants of them in these talks, that their government is inclusive, that it represents Afghan society, and that it protects human rights and women's rights.
Stop. This is really the whole thing that we're doing. This is a classic. You've got this country that has its ways of doing things, but we're demanding that they bring women in. It's like demanding women on your board of directors in an American corporation. It should be none of your business. At all. This government should not be poking its nose into the American boardroom and saying, no, you got to have a Latinx. You got to have a woman. You got to do this. You got to do that. A lesbian.
BlackRock has actually just put out a statement. 30% of all boards that they invest their clients' money in has to be diverse, including one from an underserved community. Whatever that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It wasn't specified. It's like a homeless guy.
Filipino, a homeless. That's your underserved community.
Yes, that's very underserved.
You have to have one homeless. By the way, you can start an organization and promote this idea.
Yeah.
One homeless person has to be on every Fortune 500 company board.
Yes, it's the CHO.
Yeah.
The Chief Homeless Officer.
The CHO, the Chief Homeless Officer. He has to be on the board, and when he comes in the meeting, he has to stink.
Yes. Yes.
Or shoot up
for
at
equity.
The meeting.
For equity.
All right, finish that clip, sorry.
Their government is inclusive, that it represents Afghan society, and that it protects human rights and women's rights. Of course, there's a lot of skepticism from the international community on that. In fact, just yesterday, the United Nations said they're receiving dozens of credible reports of extrajudicial killings by the Taliban.
On that point about women, girls, their education in Afghanistan, were you able to push Wardock on that?
Yes, and he himself actually called this a thorny issue. Right now, there are inconsistencies across Afghanistan around girls' access to education. Girls are able to attend private schools and universities, but not public ones, and a decision is yet to be made on that. Wardock says the main issue here is disagreements within Afghan society around women's education and work, but overall, he says the Taliban are in support of girls' education and women being in the workforce. He also did not miss an opportunity here to take a dig at the West for what he called their, quote, double standard. Here's what he said.
On the one hand, they say that the woman has a right to education and a right to work. Then, on the other hand, they froze our financial assets. This woman is a part of the Afghan people, and she is starving to death. Her child starves to death, dies of starvation. They cannot find a morsel to stay alive. Is this not a human right?
Speaking to just how very grim things are in Afghanistan right now. Fatma, how are the Taliban, who have been fighters for these last 2 decades, not governing? How are they managing all of this?
Well, they're blaming quite a lot on the previous government and its corruption. They're blaming the West for withholding money. They're also focused on getting the Kabul airport back to full operation, which would allow aid to come in more easily into the country.
This makes me a little mad. Here's this total 4 minutes of report. I'm sure it was twice as long. They're pontificating about themselves and women and modernizing and Afghans. Fine. In the meantime, there are hundreds of Americans and American allies abandoned in Afghanistan.
Oh, by the way, I should report, I listened to the entire report. Never mentioned once.
Hundreds, maybe more. OperationWhiteElephant.org is a group, it's a nonprofit, a group that is coordinating getting people out. That is actually Lar Logan's husband's deal. OperationWhiteElephant.org.
Not mentioned once.
No, of course not. Why would you do that? That's crazy. Because then we would have to admit that we have to admit that we left people behind. It's sad. You know, people keep asking me, do you know anybody? This is really the people I know. I mean, everybody I know in military is having the same issue. Oh, it's and then this is what the media is covering. It's a little bit maddening, just a little bit.
Yeah, well, so what we do.
What we need is a new president. And you said it. You said it. The man who was at Bob Dole's funeral.
Tom Hanks.
Yep. And you know what? Tom Hanks has credibility.
Are you tired of the same old Grand Canyon?
Here we are, kids, the Grand Canyon.
It's so old and boring. I want a new one. Now!
Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so it's borrowing some of mine.
Tousle my hair, Mr. Hanks.
Sure thing, son. Now, I'm pleased to tell you all about the new Grand Canyon. Coming this weekend. It's east of Shelbyville and south of Capital City.
That's where Springfield is.
It's nowhere near where anything is or ever was. This is Tom Hanks saying if you're going to pick a government to trust, why not this one?
How close that is to reality. Hey, man, we need some credibility. Who can we get?
Good catch.
Let's get Hanks.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
And we do have a few people to thank for show 1408, starting with Ryan Seafried in Cincinnati, Ohio. 12345, a famous number, and he needs a de-douching.
Well, we got that.
You've been de-douched.
That's followed by Adam Okalakani, $100 from parts unknown, but he needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
And he also says, also, my love Laney is a D-bag.
Douchebag. Okay.
That's going to go over.
Yeah, for real.
James Watson, $100 from Mentor, Ohio.
I'd like to just say something briefly because we did get some comments about this. We read all of the notes that you send us. Every single one. We both read it. Multiple people read it. We're always looking for stuff. There is no obligation to read except executive and associate executive producers. Just so you know, because I see people are coming in new, and I don't want them to be disappointed. Why didn't you read my note? It's because we can't. We just simply don't have enough time in the show. So
we used to read these notes.
Yeah, but now we pick something out.
Ruined the show.
Yeah, and so we're going to pick stuff out when it's appropriate.
Because we used to have like everybody, instead of, they had to have something to say. So they'd donate $50 and they'd write a War and Peace. And no, we had to stop it because it was becoming ridiculous. I still think it should be limited in word count, but that's just me. James Watson in Mentor, Ohio. We just did him. Jonathan Donovan in Canadensis, Pennsylvania. I have no idea.
I don't know what that is. He has
it's $100, and he has a note that does a douchebag call out.
Yes, he
says this is switcheroo. I need it credited to my douchebag friend and boss Adam. Douchebag. So he gets the credit. I hit him in the mouth, and he has been a fan ever since. In spite of his being a great friend and excellent boss, he's a huge douchebag.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
McDermott Connor, 100. Lucas Williams, 100 from Roswell, New Mexico.
Send a hoodie.
Yeah. Christy Staubach in Rotonda West, Florida. And she actually wrote a note in.
This is an excellent example. So I'll read it. I got it here. We recently moved to Florida, land of the free. We're homeschooling our human resources, and we're all doing our best to not comply. They've only had to wear a mask on the plane where they wore the minimally compliant face mask. The lady next to us commented how she loved their smiles and could see that through their masks. We've hit several people in the mouth and have gone to multiple meetups. I already donated, but can't stand one more day of sleeping next to a douchebag. My Christmas present to my husband is this donation. His name is Mike. Now he can be upgraded to my smoking hot husband, Mike. You have also inspired our Christmas card this year by reminding everyone to stay safe. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
And that came in as a hand-typed note, so that gets a little priority when the stuff comes in with a check. Christopher, what is this? Guia, Guia?
Yeah, I think so.
In Dallas, Texas, 8933. Sir Kevin McLaughlin. Aha!
There he is.
Guess who? It's Sir Kevin McLaughlin. He's the Duke of Luna and a lover of America and
boobs.
8008. Sir Wags, Knight of the Martin State Class Delta Airspace in Havre de Grace, Maryland, 7890. Anonymous, 75. Marco A. Castellanos C. Castellanos. I don't know what his real name is.
From Guatemala.
He's in Guatemala.
Cool.
6333. Give us an update on what's going on. Yeah. Tell us the real deal. You're there. Nasty Nate, 6006 in Jacksonville, Florida. Small boobs, and he's got a happy birthday coming up for somebody. Christopher Dector, 5678. Richard Futter in London, UK, 5510. Stephen Slate, 5505 in Salt Lake City. Sir Selverin, the Knight in Exile in Silver Springs, Maryland. If he wins the lotto, he's going to give us 10%. Jason, I won't, yeah. He has the same chance whether he buys a ticket or not. Jason Babcock, 5117 in Henderson, Nevada, is a birthday boy. Carola Steenbergen in Meppel. Steenbergen in Meppel, Holland.
Lockdown.
5040. Mm-hmm. Got a birthday. Somebody's birthday. Jamie Hilliard in Noonan, Georgia, I think.
Yep.
Fabio Alves in Monk's Corner. Oh, these are $50 donors. I'm just going to do the names and locations of all the $50 donors. if I have their locations. Fabio Elvis in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. John Camp in good old Antlers, Oklahoma. Josh Edar, he's floating around the military bases. David Shalona, my Shalona in Madisonville, Louisiana. Jason Benson in Gladewater, Texas. Jim Tucker in National Park, New Jersey. Instead of having a national park, just call a town National Park. Rita Harrington in Sparks, Nevada. Tony Smith in Fort Worth, Texas. James Edmondson in South Plainfield, New Jersey. Brian Henderson in Indianapolis, Indiana. Baron of Southern Illinois. Raleigh Hawk in Anna, Illinois. Sir Kevin Dills in Huntersville, North Carolina. Philip Ballou in Louisville, Kentucky. Chris Lewinsky, Sir Chris up there in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami. And last but not least, Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. I want to thank these folks for producing show 1408.
And thank you to everyone who came in under 50 for anonymity. Many of those 49s always pop up. Love seeing them. And people who are on the subscriptions, what we call sustaining donations. Couple of make goods. Curtis Smith. We didn't get his night note last time. I'd like to be knighted Sir Goat of the Hill and claim Deep East Texas. I'll be 49 on the 13th. I'll be a knight for my birthday. And he'd like some Gosling's Black Seal rum for the round table. Hold on.
So do we put him on this week's list?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, let me see if he's, is he not on here? Hold on a second. You confuse me, man.
Well, you can keep reading. I can look.
No, I guess we did him. Kurt Smith. Well, he did. No, Curtis Smith is today. Yes, he gets his today. I'm sure the back office did everything perfect.
Oh.
Tiffany Mickelson. In the morning, she was hit in the mouth by her fiance, and she donated $333. The last show was her first donation, and it was special because they were getting married on the 12th, and I can't believe that the note didn't come through. That's too bad. But we'll make up for it here. As the selfless woman I am, I will remain a douchebag, so my soon-to-be husband Spencer Haff can become a producer. I believe this is called a switcheroo. Yes, indeed. I wanted to call him out for being a giant douchebag because we've been listening for over a year and haven't donated until now. So now he can be finally de-douched.
You've been de-douched.
This donation is my wedding gift to him and also a surprise because he won't know until he listens to this episode today. Surprise, Spencer. We love listening to y'all break down the fake news and appreciate your courage. Value for Value is the best model, and we can't thank you enough for removing the blinders. Can't forget to mention our beautiful human resource. He listens with us at 17 months old. We start him young. Can't wait to never have a fight. Love is lit. I'd like some marriage karma. Yes, we'll do that for you. And congratulations on the nuptials, y'all. And finally, Anonymous, I should say.
We should put her on him on the list today for the executive producer list.
Okay, you'll remind me of that in a moment.
I hope to, yes.
Anonymous says, happy birthday, my little brother Henry, who I've repeatedly been trying to hit in the mouth over the past month. Hopefully I've figured out how to listen to a podcast that's not on Spotify by the time this episode airs. And then he has a report from the cotton industry, which is no good, of course. And we will, I think your brother Henry may have made it onto today's birthday list. So those are the make goods. Sorry we didn't get them, but oftentimes people send stuff in the wrong place. You too can send something in the wrong place. To find out where not to send it, go to
Dvorak.org/NA. It's a birthday.
And another fine list today. We start off with Steve Banstra, who says happy birthday to his wife, Dame Smokin' Hot Stew, 45. She turned on the 11th. Thomas says happy birthday to his little brother, Henry, who just did that one. Kurt Smith, 49, on the 13th, belated. Kevin Silverman, celebrated on the 14th. Sarah Hamrow, happy birthday to her father-in-law, Ray DeSimone, 100 on the 15th. Corolla Steenbergen, 40 on the 15th. Jason Babcock, 51 tomorrow. Lorraine Radcliffe says happy birthday to James and Emma, who will be 17 and 14 consecutively this week. And Luke Whitmore, happy birthday to his beautiful wife, Gina. And Nasty Nate rounds up the list with a big happy birthday to... that seems like that might have been a night, but I guess, no, that's his night name. Luke Whitmore was the last one. His beautiful wife, Gina. Stuff goes wrong. Happy birthday, everybody.
Come gather round, douchebag, producer and slave, as we all thank your brothers and sisters who gave, and some of them nights, some of them dames, for the titles are a-changing.
And we did not arrest him for sparking the blunt. We have special new titles for Sir Sean, Baron of Belmont, and the Catawba River Basin. That is an upgrade for him, along with Kevin Smith, who now is Sir Rulian of the Peach Orchard, goes to Baronet Kevin Smith. Hey, Nasty Nate. Nasty Nate becomes a knight today. I just want to make sure that... didn't we have Nasty Nate on the list? Because it's a little confusing.
I don't have the list.
Well, no, you have the spreadsheet. We had Nasty Nate on the spreadsheet today. No, it's a birthday. No, I did it wrong. Happy birthday, Sir Combat Rock of the Idaho Highlands from Nasty Nate. Sorry. The way it was written was confusing. There's a lot of confusion here today.
It's a confusing day.
I'm so confused. Hey, we got a couple of knights and dames. Actually, we have all night, so I'm going to use this.
I got the all-male blade here, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's pretty. We need up on the podium Papa J. Janosik. We need Nate Lensick. We need Curtis Smith and Chisholm Cook. Gentlemen, all four of you supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. I'm very proud to pronounce the KC as the following with titles: Sir Papa J, Sir Rando, Sir Goat of the Hill, who is a Black Knight, and Sir Chummy of the Texas Hill Country. Gentlemen, for you, we've got the Hookers and Blow, the Rent Boys, and the Chardonnay. We've got liver mush and grits, grilled trout with fingerling potatoes and heirloom tomatoes, Balvenie, 21 neat pork belly, bow, and Caffrey's Irish Ale, medium rare fired roasted elk tenderloin, Brussels sprouts, saute and bacon grease, mashed sweet potatoes, and top shelf ranch water, Goslings and Black Steel rum, and mutton and mead. You guys are really pushing us with these orders. I mean, elk tenderloin, not easy. Brussels sprouts, sauteed in bacon grease. We're going to make it easy for you, though. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. You can select your official night ring. You get the sealing wax and the certificate so everybody knows that it's the real deal. You are now Knights of the No Agenda Roundtable. Congratulations, and thank you very much for supporting the best podcast in the universe.
No Agenda
I'm sorry, John, did you say something?
Yeah, there's something in here on this list that I'm supposed to interrupt you, or there's a call out there, maybe put a special note to Adam, I think. And I'm supposed to make sure it gets read. I don't even remember. It was from last night. I long since forgot the instructions.
So you thought the best part to do that was right as I hit the jingle?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Do you have a note? If you got something, do you have something to share?
It would be on the list that she put out. I'm looking for the list to download it.
Okay. I have the list. Is what I'm given. Let's go to a meetup report from Green Bay.
In the morning, fisting nuts and shooting butts. Jason from Green Bay.
It's Laura from Green Bay. In the morning.
Get vaccinated.
No.
Jeremy from Wausau in the morning.
Sir Kyle, Baronet, Tapu Idea Chow Chicka Ching Ching.
Lee in Green Bay. Jay from Green Bay. Adam, you're my hero. In the morning. Jay and Beth from Green Bay.
Jay and Beth. BJ.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I see the note. The note is
okay.
The note is
yeah,
here.
by the way, did they mention Aaron Rodgers in that report?
No.
Green Bayers?
No.
Uh-huh.
That's what the note is about, because they're doing, there's another meetup on where is it? No, he didn't attend. It was a total scam.
No, the note's not about that.
No,
the
it's
note's
not.
About, I see it.
Yeah,
Roger
I see it
Roundy.
too. Yes.
Okay.
Wow, I'm glad we really slowed down the show to discuss this, this one fucking note. Seriously, interrupting in jingles. No. Here's your meetups. If you'd like to attend them, there's a number of them, so expect a lot of reports for the next show. Thursday, today, we have the Rally Point Sports Grill. That's the local 919 Carry Courage meetup. in Cary, North Carolina, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Mountain Time, the Denver area bi-weekly rule-flaunting meetup in Hangar 101, Lakewood, Colorado. Charlotte's third Thursday monthly meetup, 7 o'clock tonight, Ed's Tavern. Saturday, the Shrunken Amygdala Support Group Christmas Special, 2 o'clock at Taft's Brewporium. Now, that's not the downtown location. It's the one on Spring Grove Avenue. That's in Cincinnati. On Saturday, the West Texas Permian Basin meetup, 2 o'clock. You'll have to reply to Sir Michael of Calgary and Vegas to find out where it is. It seems like it's one of those secret locations. Also on Saturday, flight of the No Agenda return of the Proud Bird, 3:33 at the Proud Bird outside in the patio area in Los Angeles. Leo Bravo organizing. This is Fine, Snow King Slave Support Group with beer. Happened 4 o'clock at the Old Inn in Snohomish, Washington. And on Saturday, Friends for Freedom, 6 o'clock, Hillman Beer in Asheville, North Carolina. On Sunday, the 19th, Stand Tall Sunday, 3 o'clock Mountain Time. That'll be calling Northern New Mexico, Southern Colorado. It'll be at Roland's Smokin' Garage Barbecue. It's in Walsenburg. There we go. Walsenburg, Colorado. Sunday, No Agenda TMI Evac Zone, 3:33 p.m. Eastern. That'll be at Central Pennsylvania, Northern Maryland, the Lydian Stone Brewing, York Haven, Pennsylvania. And the big note, oh my God, artist Roger Roundy is planning on attending. Woo! Just like Aaron Rodgers. That's why I'm not buying
he's going to bring some artwork they're going to auction off.
Oh, that's cool. He does have nice artwork, that's for sure.
Or something, or make a post or something.
Wrapping it up, December 19th, Slaves of Southern California Stan will be meeting at 3:33 p.m. at Sandy's Beach Shack in Huntington Beach, California. These are just a few of the meetups we have. Sorry?
Mask up. California's now masked up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mask up, everybody. Exactly. But at the No Agenda meetups, you might be able to slip the mask down and give someone a smile. This is something you need to try for yourself. Don't say you know what it is until you've tried it. It's completely produced or organized. Thank you, Sir Daniel, for noagendameetups.com, where you can go and search and find for a meetup near you. If you can't find one, start one yourself. It's easy and guaranteed always a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
And I do feel gypped about Aaron Rodgers. People really gave us the impression, oh yeah, he's a listener, he's coming. No. That was a jip.
So I say he's practicing on Saturday for the Sunday game. And how does that even work? Sorry, guys, I got to go do a meetup.
Yeah. Hey, I got a lot of ISOs to try out for you today. What do you have?
Because I only have one. I figured there's a cycle involved here. And play yours, and I get the one I hope to close the deal.
Oh, wow. Oh, that confident. Okay, here we go, ISO 1.
Awesome.
I think that's kind of good.
I happen to have my appointment for my booster today.
No, that's no good. That's no good.
I like that one.
It's too long.
Tough cookies. You're blocked.
Let me see. This was kind of cute.
I want to thank you for your courage.
That's Rogan to McCullough at the end. You think he listens to us? No.
Well, he does once in a while.
I'm sure he does. Here's this one I thought was fun.
I smoke pot and I trade crypto.
That's our friend Horowitz. This one may be the winner.
Vaccination equals freedom.
I kind of like that one.
Vaccination equals freedom.
Or my final pick.
Nice protocol.
Okay, that's all I got.
Well, the first one I did like, but it needs to be boosted a lot.
What, the awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm boosting that.
Okay, I only have one. It's called terrible.
This is terrible. Awesome.
See, I like this.
Nice protocol.
I like that one. And I think that just for what it is.
Vaccination equals freedom.
I mean.
Let's go. I'll agree with the last one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just too good to pass up. It's just too dynamite.
These people, the head shaving thing is more and more appealing. Tar and feather, by the way, whatever happened to that? There's an idea.
Well, but with what do we do with Fauci? I think, Fauci, we have to put his head in a box with fleas, sand fleas, like the beagles, right? And then we just have to boost him every 5 minutes. Just jack him up. Boost him, boost him, boost him. Live on TV on a webcam. Don't worry.
Have the Fauci cam.
The Fauci cam. Okay. Are we done? Anything else we need? I mean, we're never done. The work is never done. I'll be honest about that.
I'm looking for a short
5G stuff.
Well, there's a dead migrant story. It's a short 22 seconds. Keep us up with that.
Bum me out with a dead migrant?
Maybe you're right.
No, here. Here you go. This is from the BBC reporting on France, reporting on cultural issues in France, and they introduce a dynamite term. This also needs to be boosted. Here we go.
From inequalities for a very long time, and now it's the time for the other people, for the marginalized people, to be at the center of the public sphere.
For Diallo and other activists, France is a hypocrite, using the language of human rights to ward off calls for necessary change. But seen from the other side, for opponents of wokeism, France is a beacon of hope, because it has the culture and political tradition to withstand where other countries have buckled. These days, ideas move very fast. In the space of just a few months, le wokeism has arrived in France via the campus and social media. Now, it must fight here to survive.
Pushing back against le wokeism arriving on French shores, our correspondent...
Le wokeism, John.
Well, the wokeism is around. We've heard it before.
Yeah, but le wokeism. It's
that's good. Before you play the... I do have a clip we can end with.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is woke in French is not just le wokeism. It's le wokeism with cheese.
So I do have one clip because this introduces an interesting situation. Just about the Florida legal settlements about the Parker High, whatever that school was that got shot up by that guy.
Yeah, because they didn't respond and the FBI got sued by the parents?
And they lost.
The FBI or the parents?
The FBI. Listen to this.
The school district in Florida's Broward County has agreed to 2 legal settlements with families of those killed and some who were injured in the 2018 attack at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. NPR's Greg Allen reports more than 50 plaintiffs will share the $25 million settlement.
Families of the 17 students and staff members killed at the Parkland, Florida High School will each receive a little more than $1 million. Payments to the injured range from $22,000 to $750,000. The school district approved a separate settlement of $1.25 million to former student Anthony Borges, one of the most severely wounded, who his lawyer says will require a lifetime of care. In a statement, representatives for the family say the settlement offers, quote, some degree of closure. Last month, the families received a $127 million settlement with the FBI over its failure to take action that might have stopped the gunman, despite having received warnings about a possible attack.
Wow. That sets quite a precedent.
That sets a huge precedent, $127 million from the FBI for not doing their job. They go through all the trouble of setting all these spy networks up, and then when something comes across their desk, it slides.
Like an idiot kid with a gun who's threatened his schoolmates over and over again. Good job, government. Good job, FBI in particular. It's all right. We can get rid of them. We still have 14 spy agencies left. It never ends.
But it'll ruin 3 TV shows, so they probably won't do anything.
That's it for your media deconstruction for the first Thursday of the week. We return on Sunday, of course, bringing you everything we can all around Gitmo Nation. End of show mixes. We got just a quick ditty from Lady Mountain J, who teamed up with Sir Spencer. Should be fun to listen to. And then that long-awaited Jab Me Baby from Millennial Mel Hart. And up next, we've got Ryan Bemrose live on the stream with Angry Tech News. Sounds like someone owes you some royalties, Grouch. Just saying. Coming to you from the heart of Texas Hill Country, FEMA Region number 6. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm looking out, I can see into the distance, and I don't see a pandemic. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Please join us. And remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until Sunday. Adios, mofos! And such.
There ain't no agenda here. Money don't grow on trees. They've got bills to pay, they've got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free. We know they can't slow down, they can't hold back, so we donate time to produce. You know there ain't no agenda here until they close their eyes for good.
Oh, Fauci, won't you get a little closer, my dear?
Jab me, baby, slip the needle into my arm, no harm. I'm an awful good slave, Fauci, baby. Hurry up and jab me tonight. Jab me, baby, a 4th and 5th booster shot too for you. You'll take care of me, dear Fauci, baby. Hurry up and jab me tonight. Think of all the fun I'll miss, all the New York restaurants I can't visit. Next year I'll be just as good, a 6th and 8th, anything you say. Jab me, baby, I want a shot, and 4 is not a lot. But I'll keep wearing my mask, Fauci, baby. Hurry up and jab me tonight. Jab me, baby, slip a needle into my arm, no harm. I'm an awful good slave, Fauci, baby. Hurry up and jab me tonight.
Donate! 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 You will obey. The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Vaccination equals freedom.